Live tonight, Architects of Humanity, Dangers of the Comfort Zone. That's what it is. Forged in the flesh. Good to see you, brother. He says, oh, this should be a good one. Hope so, brother. Hope so, man. Got the link pinned to the top in case anybody wants to hop on. I don't know how long the show will go. Seeing what's up, flowing with the force. That's the way it is, the comfort zone, right? But some people might say, what is a comfort zone? Well, a comfort zone is a psychological, behavioral, or an environmental state where someone feels safe, in control, and experiences minimal stress or anxiety. It's a familiar place. A lot of us know it. I mean, I'm a comfort zoner myself. I can't deny the fact that comfort is such a serious weapon to keep somebody subservient. There's not many that are on that level. It's like Aldous Huxley said in Brave New World, where people, it's not good enough to be in the concentration camp. They have to build it, they have to worship it, they have to maintain it, they have to exist for it. And we see that in many of the comfort zone items, like sports. A lot of people exist for ball chasing. It's just what it is. We see it with certain musicians. People wait for the concert, the movie. I used to wait for movies, wondering if there's any good movies out. That's how pathetic life was when I thought it was good in the 90s. But there was a fun to it. But when you look back at how time could have been spent better, we see there is a distractive force around us to probably keeping us from a potential that we wouldn't even fathom to be real. We would say that's, impossible, but it might not be impossible. It might be real. Where the mind goes, the body follows, right? So in the familiar space, routines are predictable within the comfort zone, and the tasks are performed on autopilot using known skills. Autopilot, we see a lot of people on autopilot. Psychological and behavioral impacts of the comfort zone is that it provides a necessary space for recovery and composure. Remaining there indefinitely can hinder personal growth, though. We do see that. We see people that are like lifelong comfort zoners. Mr. X, good to see you, brother. Says, looking forward to this stream. Yeah, man, the comfort zoners, the autopilots, and anybody can look it up. And I would think that AI has some funny things to put into with it as well. The psychological, behavioral impact. The pros, it encourages a calm, conserves mental energy, establishes basic emotional security. So you can recharge in the comfort zone. It's just that you have to be careful on how long you stay there. The cons, of course, it leads to stagnation. It limits resilience to change and caps learning. It covers it. Entering the growth zone, though, that's right outside of the comfort zone, is the growth zone. Stepping outside into this area, into the fear, the learning zones, requires facing uncertainty, which builds new skills, self efficacy, and a stronger growth mindset. That's what we do when we have different conversations about different things that may seem uncomfortable, because it brings us out of the comfort zone so we can grow, so we don't become stagnant and have our resilience limited. Most people that don't have serious conversations, we see already when we get into a deep subject, they have their resilience is limited. They're kind of stagnated. Their learning has been capped off by what? By hanging out in the comfort zone too much. It's like training with a partner that's not really training too hard. And now, when you go up against real competition, you see that you're not as good as you thought you were. What's that old saying? Steel sharpens steel, something like that. But usually, if you have something that's a better abrasive, you can use that. You don't need something like steel to sharpen steel. You can use stone, a much harder type of stone that sharpens the steel to a point that could never be sharpened with ordinary steel. So, looking for something in that analogy, looking for something smarter than ourselves, situations that can teach us, that's the way we can move forward into the growth zone. And if we need be, we step back into the comfort zone, relax, recharge, step back out into the growth zone. Then the comfort zone tends to get larger, tends to get wider. So we can endure more because we're training ourselves little by little how to endure that. So that's a thing that can help us become more aware of the world around us. Like yesterday, the stream I had with the guy, if anyone noticed, how everything's under control and we see the skies are out of control behind him. But what he's seeing through the virtual apparatus is cumulus clouds. He's not seeing any trails. His mind is seeing one thing and reality is another. This is why I made that. And then the one for today was the comfort zone. So, like outside of the comfort zone, he doesn't know about the androids being built to replace him on the right, the the planes dropping artillery on the left, which is like a constant thing. I don't even know what it is. It's like this is like Planet War or something like that. You know, it just I would love to have peace. And we have a paradise here. This is Earth is a paradise. Earth, we can see it, but something, I don't know if it's the lack of courage that men have, has really taken over, and it's had people just in this virtual comfort zone, basically. And that's basically what this is. This is another comfort zone. This is the goggles of the comfort zone. That when I look at that, it's like, wow, you know, it's hard to break it. It's hard to come out of the pod. It really is. The physical and environmental meaning of the comfort zone, right? In a literal or environmental sense. Comfort zone refers to the ideal range and temperature, humidity, and airflow for the human body to feel completely at ease without experiencing physiological stress. So it's not too hot, it's not too cool. It's perfect. You feel good. It's not like if it were a different temperature where you would feel it. So we know where there's a climate, a comfortable climate zone. So then we have the products, right? Um, we have other ways that people can break out of familiar habits. I knew somebody that wanted to experience what nature had to offer. They would be out there in all types of weather, and they thought that existence wanted him to experience that. And I was like, wow, for this person to have such a deep outlook at such a young age, it's just amazing. Um, AK says, "Hey MD, how's it going? Haven't seen you live in a few years. Didn't know you came back." Yeah, man, thanks. I've always been around. I've just been in and out. Scribe took over the show for a while back in 2022 and 23, I think. And then, yeah, we just been shifting a little from different channels. Knowledge is basically the theme of the show, actually, instead of other things that I used to do before, which who knows, I might still talk about them a little, but to make a whole channel for that stuff just doesn't make sense anymore. Knowledge about where we're going, where we came from, and why we're here, that seems to be the most important thing. The architects of humanity seems to be a more relevant subject to existence. And this is why I'd rather do this, even though there's less of an audience, but It's just, it has more of a meaning, the meaning that we're all going somewhere. And our comfort zone, it's like, do we want to stay in the comfort zone until we go there? And I like the comfort zone. I'm not saying that, oh, people should be uncomfortable, but is that's really uncomfortable, like conversations are usually where we grow. If we read uncomfortable data to think about that and not change it to fit what we want to believe in order to feel comfortable, but to accept it the way it is and grow into truth. This looks interesting. The old channel was roast. Yeah, yeah. This is more knowledgeable, man. All about ideas. Like tonight's topic, dangers of the comfort zone. Last night was go back to sleep. Everything is under control with the guy with the goggles that I just showed right here. So this was the thumbnail from yesterday's stream. Don't go back to sleep. Everything's under control. That was the title. And then today was dangers of the comfort zone. So yeah, different types of subjects to have people think and add in what they think about is going on with AI, with countries, with what we're being told throughout history. Start to see that there's been a lot of inaccuracies that once we start to see it, we say, wow, this whole thing seems to have been set up to keep me from seeing certain things, looking in certain directions, thinking about certain subjects. But what are those subjects? What direction is it that I shouldn't be looking in? That they've prevented me from looking in with all of these distractions every day. Even if I were to look in that direction, would I know what it is that I'm supposed to see? Because I'm so out of touch with it from staying in the comfort zone for so long. Mr. X, what's up, bro? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, MD. Good to see you. Yeah, looking forward to this topic. Just tuning in right now, with work, but looks like it's going to be interesting. So, what do you mean exactly by the comfort zone? What's the definition? What do you call the comfort zone exactly?
Well, the climate comfort zone, of course, is a place where it has the right temperature. You feel comfortable. You're not too hot. You're not too cold. You're not sitting on something too hard. So it's kind of like something, a physical comfort zone, a climate zone. We have that, but then we also have the comfort zone of the mental. So the
Yes,
mental, and that's something as well. You could be comfortable physically and get into a conversation that turns into where it's almost debative if people don't realize what they're doing. And even though they're in a physically comfortable place, it can become very mentally uncomfortable. And this is something that people don't realize how real and how important and how effective the mental comfort zone can be, the mental atmosphere, even. They don't, a lot of people don't realize that the physical atmosphere has a lot to do with just as much as the mental atmosphere. They kind of,
sure,
yeah, they go hand in hand. If
definitely see
if
that.
you're dealing with other people, so like if it's a physical atmosphere where you have to do something outside, maybe on a farm, maybe in cold weather, accomplish some type of task, then that's different. There's really no mental environment in there if you're focusing on what you're supposed to do to get back to a comfortable climate. So unless you're out there in on like a farm and it's a beautiful day and you enjoy it, so there's the physical, but the mental comfort zone. That's where, like on the thumbnail, where what we think about, how far we're willing to think about if we equate it to the physical comfort zone. Are we uh, willing to grow by experiencing a hotter temperature during a conversation to where it gets cool?
Sure,
You know, willing to look at some of the stuff that we learn about and decide to say, I have to incorporate that in what I know to stay currently in reality. So to be honest with myself, to say, yeah, I don't know, like we talked about yesterday, we come into this, and if the person comes to the realization that, yeah, logically, we'll never be able to solve this mystery. We're
Mhm.
just going through it. We're rowing our boat, and that's okay.
But do you
That's
think
okay.
we should keep open-minded though? Like let's just say we're willing to hear other people's explanations or beliefs.
Hmm.
Don't you think that's important too, to remain a little, at least a little bit open-minded, and to gather some information, gather a piece of the puzzle?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely think that's very important. Uh, Most people have like what would go into a template, like you were saying. Most might say, oh, you got to be saved. So you have the
Right.
you got to be saved groups. You got the different types of you got to be saved. Some people say you got to be saved in a certain way, and then other people say you got to be saved in a different way.
Yeah,
So
and I think there's some arrogance in those people. That's why I'm not in agreements with them. They only want to take the high road. They want the good stuff. They don't want the hard work. That's what I notice about people like that.
well, a lot of them, I'm just like, hey, let them believe what they want to believe. It's those are the people um, that that don't, you just got to leave them be. You just got to say, okay, look, I'm
Mhm.
searching to look through. I'm being open minded, but we already know that when we're dealing with people like that, there's
Right.
nothing, yeah. So you might as
Well,
well just say, all right,
here's
we'll
a good
leave.
example. Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Here's a good example of what I'm saying, because I know it's not that clear what I'm actually saying. Let's say I saw somebody and he was a drug user, an alcoholic, or something like that. And these are the people that say, you need to stop taking drugs, you need to stop drinking. And that's that. They would leave it at that. That's exactly what they're saying when they say, hey, get saved. But from my perspective, what I know from my belief system, what's been given to me, not that I came up with it, it was given to me. If you're going to say something like that to the person, then you better be willing to pay for his rehab and support him and take care of him. And you can't just say stop
Mhm.
doing drugs or stop drinking. Now you got to actually do something. You got to put your money where your mouth is and
Yeah.
get this
Yeah.
person through it. And see, that's the thing about these people. They only want to be the judgmental one, saying stop doing this or stop doing that, but then they don't want to help do the hard work of helping the person out, or the sacrifice of sacrificing some money to do it.
Yeah.
That's what I see in a lot of these people. So that's where I differ from them big
Yeah.
time. Because anybody can say stop doing this, stop doing that, and leave it at that. Anybody can do that. That's the easy part. The hard part is actually helping the person stop doing something or to make their life better. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah, a good way to possibly educate them or getting them to maybe see it from a different perspective is to
Mhm.
let them know that if somebody can't swim and they fall in the water and they're drowning, it's like telling them to learn how to swim.
Yeah.
The person is drowning. There's no way they can learn how to swim. They'll drown. So they can you can save them and
Hmm.
then they can learn how to swim. So if that happens again, they can prevent themselves from drowning if they don't receive any help. But when somebody, like you said, needs that help and the person just says something and it's like, oh, but they don't want to help them, we
Right.
see it's like a person saying, oh, just learn how to swim. It's
Exactly.
like the person can't just learn how to swim. A person just can't. A lot of people with mental, like anxiety and stuff like that. These are things that really
Right.
need to be looked into.
See, they're doing the easy part of just anybody can say learn how to swim. Anybody can do that, but it's the guy who was willing to teach him how to swim or pay for swimming lessons for him.
Yeah,
That's where my belief system comes in. The creator tells me, no, that's not good enough. You got to help the person out.
yeah, yeah,
It's not the easy way, it's the hard way. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, you're looking at it from a more mature outlook. Like you said, there's a lot of people who are religious that all they want to do is turn you into their religion. So
Yeah.
it's zombie.
Or
It's like,
pass judgment and feel superior too,
yeah,
because I notice a lot of that too.
yeah. The whole thing is based on that. It's
Yeah.
just almost
That's why you're
vampiric.
not going to hear me defending any of them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
straight Salem's Lot. They're just coming at people constantly, trying to convert them. It's just
And they
so.
know another God besides me, because the God that I know, that's not my job to convert anybody. That's
Mhm.
that's going out of my jurisdiction. basically.
that when you see that, it kind of shows where the people are like, man, you
Hmm.
know, somebody is controlling them from back in the ranks, getting them to
Right.
go out there and knock on doors and talk to
Oh
people
yeah,
and, try to be like, wow, what about just helping people instead?
sure. I had people do that to me, knock on my door, and I say, "No, I'm fine." No, you don't want Jesus? It's like, how do you know if I have Jesus or not? You know?
Well, even when they say that, it does sound a little bit like it's like, what are they talking about?
Mhm.
Saved from who?
Yeah,
What is really going on? I'm not saying there's not, there's for sure there's good forces and other
sure.
things, but yeah, they get in that type of
Hmm.
in that mind control state,
Yeah, it's
and
100% cult. I 100%
yeah,
agree. It's 100,
yeah,
like the Mormons and all that stuff. 100% cult. I have
yeah,
no disagreement with that whatsoever.
yeah. It gets very, very culty, very
Hmm.
culty. And a lot of people, that's the thing. If we sit back, we say, wow, they are really in a state of mind control. But what, as you and I see, that's even more deceitful is when we see the evolutionists sit back and look at them as if, wow, they're religious and that's crazy, not even knowing that they themselves are even more religious than them
That's
with their
right.
belief. Yeah, and the bone worship and stuff like that.
Hmm.
It's basically bone worship. When you look at the way they worship and drool over these bones, it makes you wonder. It's like, why? Why? It
It's
just
got to be motivated by something else, though. I really believe that. I think even the religion, it's motivated by something else besides actually knowing the creator. Most of the organized religions, I think it's an ego or superiority thing. People want to feel more important. They have this desire to feed the ego. Pride is a very big sin, and it's out there everywhere. People want to feel proud of something. They want to stand out. You know.
well, they could just be satisfied. That's a lot better than pride. Just say, instead of pride, you could be satisfied. You could be fulfilled. Everything could be happy instead of that be proud type of thing. And you analyze it and you say, yeah, what is that? Why?
Mhm.
Why would I want to be like that?
Maybe you wouldn't or I wouldn't, but they do. You see what I'm saying? They have a
Yeah,
different
but I
mentality.
think, what if it was explained properly? Because I know that even you can explain it to somebody and they'll still say there's nothing wrong with it.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of people, again, are in that level of mentality where they're not really they there's not a lot to think with. They have relinquished critical thinking a
Oh,
long time
100%.
ago. Yeah,
100%.
yeah. The critical thinking is it's almost absent from society. You try to talk to somebody about something, and they'll actually look at you kind of odd.
Mhm.
And just like in the movie They Live, where the drone was over him, that's here today. We have the drones. We have the surveillance on a level where I don't even see how somebody would get away with anything. I mean,
Eventually they won't. Eventually they won't.
it's
Yeah,
straight Minority Report, basically.
it is.
So, it's like everything is
I mean, who
just
would have thought we'd have a computer the size of Manhattan? You
that's
know, that's just one of them too.
that is crazy. The fact that they're doing stuff like that and nobody cares, that's the comfort zone. The
Yeah.
fact that those data centers are being built, that's why I put on the one side of the comfort zone picture the guy um, on the right has the robots. The robots are being created. On the left, the airplanes are dropping artillery. And in the
Mhm.
middle, he's just watching TV and eating in his comfort zone to let
Yeah.
people know, like, this is the danger. These things creep around you and you think you're protected. You go outside and it's
Like
like
that
this.
one. I really like that one. I like
Thank
them both, but I like that one too. It's a good
thank you.
job.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's the outdoor comfort zone. They just throw on the goggles. Nothing's
Hmm.
wrong. They're seeing regular clouds. Meanwhile, the sky is crazy. The cameras are everywhere, and that's basically what it is. We live in a very controlled society under the disguise that it's free. That's the crazy thing. Theories of
Exactly.
creation. What's up, man? He says our school system is designed to make drones, not critical thinkers. Good to
Mm,
see you, man. If you want to hop on, we got the link pinned to the top of the chat. It says AI is the beast, the revelation. We got the link over here. That's the guy from the stream I was telling Mr. X is the co-host here that I was telling you guys about that has watched Kent Hovind's series. So these are the guys that this guy I think went and met Hovind and then
wow.
created a ministry or something like that. If you want to come on and tell your story about that, it's always a pleasure.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, man. Yeah, when I think about what is going on, it's definitely something behind the scenes.
We are going through a major change here, major change on a colossal level. It's just, and of course, I don't even pretend to know how deep it's going to get, but it's going to get
Yeah,
deep. Our
yeah,
whole lives are going to change.
yeah, yeah. And he's right. Best way to control, yeah, make them think they're free. If they think they're free, they don't even know that there's a cage. Yeah, yeah, we got it on the top. Just hop on. I'll hear you hop backstage. Yeah, yeah. He maybe he can talk about his story, how he built his creation place. That and also how people are kept in a state of control. They're kept in a state of mind control where the government just tells them something and they believe it. And I've noticed when I was younger, shows like that, like there would be jokes that were corny and
Hmm.
people would laugh. And I would look at them like not directly, but I would be like, man, this is that wasn't really funny. That was more
Yeah,
stupid. Yeah.
exactly. I see that today too. Really stupid. Like Netflix, some people love these Netflix episodes, and it's like to me they're really stupid. They're not very well done at all.
Yeah.
Um,
And
yeah.
that's another thing, I've noticed that maybe that's done on purpose. Everything is done on purpose. I mean, to me there's no mistakes. This is so military, it's ridiculous. Like people wouldn't believe it if yeah, yeah, they definitely Truth Love says comfort is a drug that most people are addicted to. Yeah, myself included. You're so right about that. I think
Mhm.
that's Allie. Good to
I
see you.
mean, MD, have you ever seen any of the Transformer movies? With those robots and everything.
Oh, yeah, not the whole movie, uh, but I've seen parts of the
What'd you
Transformers.
think of that movie? What'd you think of the parts
It
that you saw?
was there was too much special effects where
Hmm.
it was too flashy, where you couldn't see, like there was so many moving parts. I think that they overdid it.
Hmm.
And I didn't listen to too much of the dialogue, but there was points where it had decent dialogue. But I just felt like it was too fast. It was like a movie that was trying to move too quickly paced with um, the physical thing. Maybe not
Sure.
the pace of the movie, but yeah. So that's what kind of
Because
turned me off from it in a way.
because it's gotten so much hype, and there are just zombies who love this stuff. It's like the most greatest thing in the world. These Transformers. I tried to watch. I thought it was the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
But
But
they
then at the same time, they know their audience. They know their audience.
yeah, yep. Yeah. Theories of creation. What's up, man?
Oh, hey, theories.
Yeah, good to
Hey,
see
how
you.
y'all doing tonight?
Pretty good,
Good,
man.
good.
I was telling Mr. X about what you said with meeting Hovid and doing your thing, but if you want to let him know how that happened, I think he's pretty he's seen the whole series and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, I watch. Well, I've watching Ken Holden for years. He knows his science, that's for sure. I
Well,
enjoy his science.
let me introduce myself a little bit. My name is Rich Vandenberg. I'm an independent creation scientist.
Hmm.
I say independent because I don't want to hold a doctrine to my beliefs. I am a follower of Christ. I do believe the Bible 100%. I think we are completely separated as a body of Christ through doctrine and whatnot in the modern church age. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. So part of my testimony years ago when I was heading towards a new career field when I was 33, what I wanted to do, I wanted to go into aerospace engineering. I wanted to be a part of NASA's push to colonize the moon, which we're in the process of working on. I mean, you guys saw Artemis and all that stuff. Wanted to work with teams like Blue Origin and SpaceX on building, you know, the the colony that we're planning to do there. And right around the same time as I was starting school, can I won't go into details of the testimony. God called me to
So
check out Dr. Hovind.
you think they went to the moon the first time?
Yeah. We don't need to go into details of that. I know there's a lot of
Mm-hmm. No, just asking.
choices and whatnot.
That's cool.
Well, let me just say one thing. Usually, the people who I've come across who believe we haven't made it to the moon don't know anything about rocket engineering or orbital mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
I actually talked to one a couple weeks ago who said she couldn't believe that they can put satellites up as large as a car or even bigger, and because of that, she refused to believe it. And the only statement she would let me get out before walking away was, have you actually seen the size of an orbital class rocket or understand, how much thrust those things produce? Um, but yeah, we don't need to get into that. But anyway,
Well, it's not about the thrust. It's not even the science, basic psychology. Asking somebody to produce something that you paid for, and if they say it's not available, that's destruction of evidence. So, yeah, we won't get into that, but uh, there's a lot of logical, psychological.
Need a whole stream for that.
there is, and that kind of goes into what you were talking about, or what we were briefly discussing, or what I commented on anyway, about how you control population. First off, I don't blame them for these tactics. They're really thought out. I mean, in our country, there's what 330 million people, or I think that those were the numbers that came out like 10 or 20 years ago. I mean, we could be upwards of 400 million people in this country right now. I mean, how do you civilly control that many people? Or I don't like to say control, but how do you, make sure they really keep the peace, um,
So you're telling me it's a peaceful nation right now?
compared to what it could be,
No, no,
compared to what it could
it's
be.
not about a comparison. Is it a peaceful nation right now?
Um, Depends on your definition of peace and chaos, I guess.
What is peace then? Then what is peace?
That's a whole philosophical discussion right there.
How is that philosophical? If somebody is not trying to take what you have, are you in a state of peace right now?
I guess that's one way you could put it.
So
Basically
if the
everybody
country
getting
is in
along, not killing
unrest,
each other, not fighting each other, not stealing from each other, that type
all
of
right.
thing.
So is that happening or not happening in the country?
Yes and no.
Well, it's either one or the other.
Well, I mean,
It's
in
happening, right?
my life, I am at
No, no.
peace. I don't
Is
have
it happening in the country? Because you said you brought in the 330 million people. That how do you, you're putting everything together now. So let's keep it together in the country. So there is no peace in the country because we're not saying your experience. You put it on everybody. So now we're going to look at it in a broad aspect like
Well,
that.
what I was saying, the broad aspect, some people have it, some people don't.
No, no, no. It's either is it peaceful or is it not? Because we know that if a country is peaceful, we can openly say, no, everything's peaceful. But the answer is not that. The answer is no, it's not peaceful. Every day you have not only crimes, but you have law enforcement committing crimes every day, more than one a day, and getting in trouble for it. But that's just the ones that we know about. So if somebody were to say it's peaceful, it wouldn't line up with what we see. I think this device not connected. You got to reconnect it for it to. I see him backstage, but it's not connected. But you know, and it's not to like press them, but this is, I mean, the name of the stream, the dangers of the comfort zone. So You know, we got to push that comfort zone chair out of that circle.
But can't the comfort zone also be a danger zone? Because like some people say ignorance is bliss, as the saying goes. But I don't agree with that. I think ignorance is actually can be a form of hell. It could
If,
put you in situations that'll really be miserable for you.
if somebody says that, you tell them if ignorance is bliss, then why aren't there more happy people?
Right, exactly. Good one.
You know, so like when they say, a lot of people we're taught to say these phrases that just repeat. I see you backstage theories, but it's saying device not connected. So you might have to, like, I don't know, reboot your mic or something like that. I'm not sure. But
Yeah, I definitely like to hear what he thinks about Hogan. I'm sure that
yeah,
great.
I think that's his homeboy. Yeah, him and Hovind is tight, and he, I guess, started his church and stuff like that, or his creation ministry, or creation
You
one.
know, Hogan, you can't deny he has great science. Great
He
science.
has a very the man has a strong belief in his beliefs. I give him credit. Science, he does break it out.
Yeah.
Uh, I have to look at all of it just to see. I think some of it can be advanced.
I mean, he has debated professors, evolutionary professors in the college level. He has debated them one on one, and he's destroyed them purely on a scientific level. So
Yeah,
that's the part I look at is the science. That's
yeah,
the thing. The other stuff is just the other stuff. You know
yeah.
what I
They
mean?
can't say nothing about the science he brings forth. Yeah, Mr. X was just talking about. He'd like to hear about you and your relationship with Kent Hovind, how you met him. Did he inspire you to create a church? Like, would you like to talk
Yeah,
about that?
Dr. Hovind is a uh, really personal friend of mine. I worked for him on and off for about 4 years. We still talk from time to time. If I have any questions, I send it his way, and you know, we're, and I send text messages, little memes, and all this stuff back and forth, just laugh, just like friends do. Like I was beginning to say earlier, when I was going into the aerospace engineering thing, God basically showed up the day I was going to pay for my classes and sent me, to go study under Dr. Hovind. And I went down there and decided just to try it out for about 4 days. But ended up staying there for 4 months. God literally had to take my grandmother out of this world for me to leave that property. I went to her funeral, went back home, and subletted out my apartment, packed everything I could in the Honda Civic that I owned, and drove down there to stay there and work for him for full time. Um,
What were you doing as work?
A little bit of everything, basically jack of all trades. I started out doing some landscaping and ended up being their electrician towards the end and their shop manager. I was a lake manager for a while. I built greenhouses. I basically helped, that him build entire place, and at the same time was consistently, studying more about his science lessons and just paying attention and listening. And I just felt so free, felt
And
like the
you
family
received
of the community.
food and board for your work?
What was that?
You received food and board for your labor?
Yeah, so it was all a volunteer basis. I did after I think about 6 months. No, I think it was 4 months. He brought me on staff, and it didn't pay much. It was like $500 a month plus, room and board. And the $500 a month was enough for me to feed my dog and pay for my phone bill and stuff like that. Get a couple things here. I mean, I wasn't down there for the
Did
money.
you have to donate any of that 500 back to the church?
No, no. If I chose to, I was welcome to, but that was basically like a small paycheck that I got. It
Okay.
wasn't in any ways. I wasn't under any obligation to give any of that. Uh,
Well, Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, man. Alexis says, please give me a serious answer. I'm confused. There's only 1.5 billion cattle in the world, Yet McDonald's sells over 2.3 billion burgers every year. That's just McDonald's. Where is all of this meat coming from? Man, I really think that, and I appreciate Alexis. Thank you for the support, bro. They are using different meats. I really don't think it's all cattle. When I think about it, man, and you're right, it's just McDonald's that sells almost double that with the cattle. So now you got Wendy's, you got all these other independent places, Burger King. Um, there's just no way. So I think that they're using other types of meats. I wouldn't put it past the horse, but you already know it could go a lot further than that. You're right. The meat is not coming from just cattle. Absolutely, bro.
I
Absolutely.
know Taco Bell, I think in order to classify something as taco meat in quotes, right? It has to be 20% beef, and I believe the rest is mostly tofu and other additives and stuff like
Oh
that.
wow, wow, that makes sense.
Yeah. And Alexis says there is also sit-in restaurants, Burger King, Wendy's, grocery stores, etc. Yeah, the grocery stores. There's just so much beef around. When you add it up, you start to say, "Oh yeah, there's something else going on." There's definitely something else going on. Did you, when you stayed on that farm, did you guys like butcher your own animals? Like, where did you get food from?
Well, it wasn't really a farm, so basically it was 140 acres that used to be a gravel pit. So there wasn't really much room or soil to really grow anything there. And we had so many volunteers and guests come in there all the time. They did have a budget, and a kitchen, which I helped build three different ones. Just slowly starting from the bottom, working up. Now they've got a really nice dining hall. But
What were they coming in there for?
just to help, Dr. Hoven build. So he's basically building a creation-based theme park, right?
Mm.
A place where you can go, and get educated in the science behind the creation according to what the Bible says. And he has a whole museum set up on the 6 days of creation. There are tours that go out among the 140 acres, and he has lessons set up along the entire place. We
Mm,
did have some animals there. They were mostly there for for attractions like a petting zoo. Even though one year when I stepped away for Thanksgiving that Christmas, one of the emus they had started getting aggressive and hurt some of the guests. So they had one of the emus for Christmas dinner. I kind of missed out on that, but they don't really raise a lot to butcher. Now, if stuff ever hit the fan, for lack of a better term, there's enough animals where they could close shop and survive for a little while. But no, they mostly had a membership to Costco and Sam's Club and just bought food in bulk. So that place was built on nothing but donations and volunteer work. A good portion of it came from sales of Dr. Hoven's seminars and his books and stuff like that. But there was enough income. God always provided enough to feed everybody that came through there.
I watched one of Ken Hovind's videos, one of my favorite ones, and maybe I don't know if you were there for that, where he built a dam, and the whole purpose of the dam was to show how the creation of the Grand Canyon. I'm sorry, the Grand Canyon, and
So
he and he.
I was
You know
there
about that?
2 years after he filmed that.
Hmm.
Basically, what happened when he inherited the property, the main 12-acre lake, um, the dam washed out, like the big main dam. So the one that it's showing him break the dam with his friend running a kayak down through there, that
Yeah.
was just a temporary dam to hold back the water while
Mhm.
they reinforce and rebuild the main dam of the lake. And when that was done, that's when they released that small dam. Now there's a little rope bamboo bridge built over that exact spot.
mm.
Oh, really? And it looked just like the Grand Canyon after he released the dam. I mean, it looked identical to what we'd see in the Grand Canyon. So this theory holds true, I think,
Yeah,
as
I
far as
used
how it was
to
created.
actually drive a 18-wheeler all over the road for a little while, and the beach lines out there
Mhm.
north and east of the Grand Canyon, it's still there. Um,
Now, when you say you believe the whole entire, is it the King James version that
Um,
uh, a knowledge seeker of truth? Thank you, brother, for the support. He says, was The Matrix a racist film? We always say it's the most black pill movie, but why are all the evil agents white? Is it trying to paint whites as bad? No, I don't think it is. In some of the literature, it talks about the reason they did that was for corporate America, being that that's what people see mostly. From what I've read up on why that is, and the last names, Agent Smith, Jones, Brown, if you like when you go into they have deeper literature, those are prominent slave owner names. So it was like trying to make an analogy between what is keeping us oppressed, all of us, regardless what color a person is, by this same system. From what I got from what they talked about in some of the literature, the Reddit feeds and stuff like that, and also AI. But yeah, that's what I got from it. So it's like, yeah, I appreciate it, brother. Though, yeah, no, but I hear you. It definitely has some stuff in it where you would see that, but it's more for the corporate thing, from what they said. Yeah. So theories. You're saying that the King James version that was translated by men, right?
um, well, I'm not a King James. I'm not a King James only Christian. I know a lot of people really hold on to it. My reading isn't as good as say Dr. Hovens, for example. So I have New King James, and I have another one also that I like to frequent. It's just a little easier for me to do my studying.
Mhm.
Some of that old King James English is sometimes a little difficult for me to wrap my head around of. But no, you can get saved by just about any Bible out there. Um, there
Do you
are
think the
some.
Bible is what saves?
What was that?
Do you think the Bible is what saves?
No, but it's where it's considered the word of God, and
Mhm.
that story, it's Christ who saves us. It isn't anything we can
Mhm.
do. There's actually nothing we can do to be, you know,
Well, I think
righteous.
where a lot of people go wrong is the Bible was written the way it was written. A big part of it is about context. And that's where the confusion comes in because everybody seems to have a different interpretation. And I really believe, in my opinion, and I'm not here to force my beliefs on anybody else, you need to have a relationship with the creator so he can clarify the context.
Yes,
That's
sir.
why, yeah. So that's the only way it can be done. And he made it that way so we can have a relationship with him.
Yeah, the only reason there are verses is just to they put in it later. I don't know when, just so to make it easier to reference certain passages and whatnot.
Sure.
The Bible originally was written, just in book form without, chapters and verses and stuff. I mean, maybe some chapters,
Hmm.
but
It stood the test of time, which is a miracle in itself. So much, they tried to get rid of it for so long. So that in itself is a miracle.
40 different authors over, thousands of
Sure.
years.
Sure, of course.
Do you know who any of the authors might be?
I'm sorry.
Do you know who any of the authors might be out of the 40 authors you were saying?
Yeah, I haven't memorized all of them. I know Moses. I think he did several of them. The Apostle Paul did, I believe, was it 2/3 of the New Testament?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I couldn't recite them offhand. No.
Okay. No, I was just, yeah, I mean, the title, Dangers of the Comfort Zone, it really pushes the limit. Knowledge seeker of truth. Thank you, brother, for the support. He says, is Agent Smith truly evil or misguided? Honestly, I don't think Agent Smith is truly evil. I think and I'm not sure if it's even misguided. I think Agent Smith seems to be like a question, something that was created that has become sentient and is actually questioning its existence. Like, why am I here? What is the purpose of this? And Smith we've talked about him on many streams that it might be the deepest character in the Matrix movies. It might actually be Agent Smith. He is open. He's not going to hide who he is from you. You're going to see it. And Cypher is much more dangerous because of the stealth, of the lie, of the, you might trust him and then he unleashes Agent Smith on you. Agent Smith comes out in people's emotions, people's programming. Like if you hit uh, certain points in their belief system, Agent Smith pops up to defend it without logic or reason, just on a belief. And it's okay if the person wants to say, look, this is their belief. But when they say it's science, or if they say that it's totally true when it can't really be proven, then you're going into a realm where now they're trying to either brainwash you or their brain, and usually it comes from them being programmed to where they don't even see it. They're on autopilot. Like, that's they're only comfortable in that state where other people are thinking like them, or actually trying to convert them into thinking like them. But as we know, we talk, we learn, we start to see, okay, why does somebody think that way? Could there be more to the story? Which with Christianity and the Bibles, I see that. I see that there's, they're coming from certain texts, and those texts come from older texts even
Mhm.
yet. So wouldn't there be a lot of the story that is not talked about in these books, like they're in other books as well?
Is
Theories.
that for theories?
Yeah, if he's listening to, I mean,
Oh, my bad. I was looking something else up. I thought you were still replying to.
oh yeah, yeah, no, knowledge seeker of truth. Thank you, brother, for the support. He says, I remember in a previous stream, the topic was the Matrix wasn't made by the brothers. They are puppets. So who made it? Honestly, I think there might have been a group of computer programmers
Mhm.
and authors that possibly could have made that movie in a way that warned people, but was safe enough to where it could be produced. So when we see the Wachowski brothers, which we know now are the Wachowski sisters, it seems like they were plants. Yeah, it definitely seems like they were used to promote it, because that face of promotion, just the way they married these Hollywood actors off like a fairy tale to get the to put the majority of people that follow them in a state of soap opera type of belief. They want to see people, watch the lives of other people, be couples and stuff like that, without trying to improve their own life. Celebrity worship, man, that's a comfort zone that, yeah, it gets pretty deep with yeah, I really think that there could even be some government stuff in there, some government type of when you look at the whole Agent Smith thing and the other agents too, it's really kind of, it makes you wonder to say, man, this they expanded on certain programs that, a program to be eliminated. We could even look at that as a person that works in a certain field, to where their field becomes obsolete. What does that person do now if it's something that they've spent their whole life doing?
Mhm.
It's a tough
And it's
decision.
happening in real time. It's happening in real time. They say software engineers will be out of work pretty soon.
It's a tough one, man. It is really, and it goes back to food. It goes back to, if stuff hits the fan, the food is what comes first. You want food, you want shelter, and you
Mhm.
want clothing. So that's the basics. Knowledge seeker of truth. Thank you, brother, for the support. He says, Neo passport expired on 9/11.
Oh
Go.
wow,
Yeah,
Really?
exactly. Yeah. See, that's a very good point, man. I really appreciate
I
that.
missed that one. I missed that one. Good
Yeah,
catch.
you remember that, right? Where it
I
showed.
didn't. I didn't know. I didn't remember it.
Oh,
I've seen the movie. I don't know how many times, and I never picked up on that one.
if you the scene where they take him into the and thank
Interrogation room.
you.
Oh,
Yeah, when he's in that room, he has his passport on the table, and you can find the pictures on Google. They zoomed in, and it says uh, September 11th, 2001, because the movie came out.
Wow.
Yeah, the movie came out in '99, so it even had the year.
Mhm.
And it's crazy that that was there and in view when he was being interrogated in the room by Agent Smith and the other, I think, Agent Brown. And this this is very, very much what knowledge seeker of truth. Yeah, you're right, man. The government is definitely involved in that. That is you've really, really used your skills, detective skills, to put that together, because that makes total sense. You see how when somebody brings the evidence and we say, you know what, now, regardless of what I might have said that the government would be partially involved, or it could have been producers, it does seem we already know that the government works with these producers. These producers work with the government. They're
Yeah,
all,
I read somewhere that the CIA is actively involved in Hollywood, and vice
yeah,
versa.
yeah. I
Sure
would
they
say probably from the beginning, it's a military. Like Frank Zappa said, the military is behind the scenes. The political.
Psychological manipulation. That's why I don't watch the news. I mean, it's all the same thing. I mean, everybody has a little device in their television that
Mhm,
used to call it now time for your daily programming, right? They used to actually were upfront about it. Now they don't hide it. But I mean, it's a population manipulation channel. That's what it is. I
mhm.
mean, it's a propaganda machine.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's disguised as what's going on, and they disguise it as the news. But there's a lot more things going on with the news than you realize. If you want a
100%.
peaceful mind,
Yeah.
get
No,
rid
you're
of
right.
it. It makes everybody panic.
A knowledge seeker of truth, man. Thank you for the support, bro. He says your theory on small predictive programming put into movies. Does the government send in plants into studios who randomly put details into movies, and why? Yes, I've heard instances of the government asking movie makers to change certain lines into in their scripts. The predictive programming, clearly, openly there. We see stuff that happens in movies, and then we see it a decade later in society, almost to the T, right to the letter.
Contagion. Contagion, that movie.
Yeah,
God.
Contagion was just like, I mean, I was surprised. I was like, wow, they are just
What was
oh,
that one? Minority Report.
that was
Oh,
another
yeah.
one that came out in '02 too. That's so 24 years. Holy smokes.
You just prepare the population, and that way, when it actually happens in society, people think, "Oh, it's just some sort of
Yeah.
fantasy," or they're already prepared for it, and it won't
Yeah.
be as much of a shock to the people
Hmm. Well,
as
they get like that's the predictive programming. It's pre-programmed into them. Uh, Knowledge Seeker of Truth says Charles Kirkland in the movie Snake Eyes. Yes, that was a big one. The fact that the movie Snake Eyes had a guy named Charles Kirkland be assassinated in the similar fashion, so it shows us that it's a level of planning that can almost have a person think, you get confused. You say, how is this? I mean, that is so crazy when you think about it. The
And don't
fact.
forget Elon Musk, Iron Man 2, became the real life Iron Man.
Hmm.
You know, his
Yes.
stock was at a dollar something a share when Iron Man 2 came out. He made a cameo appearance in the beginning of the movie.
Hmm.
Now look at him. He's
Yep.
in government. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The weapons manufacturer.
Yep.
It's sort of like, you look at it, it's like, okay, so being rich makes you a superhero now. Batman
Hmm.
is a billionaire. Iron Man is a billionaire. So now I guess being a billionaire is equated with being a superhero.
Sure. But he's also got power. He's Trump's right hand man, basically. No matter what they say, he's right there, too.
Yeah, he's right.
Help.
Yeah.
Yep.
They tried to accuse Rogan of pushing him because everything Rogan was saying, Rogan was like a lapdog for him,
Hmm.
just constantly, just
I
anything.
think his SpaceX just is right now is saving a crew. One of his SpaceX rockets or whatever it is
uh, they
stations.
did a few months ago. Basically, what happened is Boeing is in the process of building their old capsule, and they had their first crewed test mission of the International Space Station. Well, there were some issues with the thrusters, and they decided it was a small enough risk that, they don't want to risk the lives of the astronauts, especially during an election year. So
Mhm.
they brought the Starliner capsule that Boeing made back unmanned. And then at the next crew rotation, Elon Musk's Dragon capsule, which has been supplying the space station from our soil since 2020, I believe,
Mhm.
since the space shuttle was retired. They just sent two astronauts up there instead of four so they could bring two back. That's all it was. And the media,
Oh,
of
okay.
course, turned it into, oh, you're a hero. Well, you just, put two less people on a capsule that was going to go up there anyway and just bring two back. It wasn't that big of a
But they're
yeah.
hyping it up like he's a hero there. So
Oh, yeah.
space, and of course, his
That's the
IPO
media.
is about in the corner too. You
That's the
know.
media. But yeah, that happened a few months ago.
Hmm.
I heard it today that there was some leak. There was some leak in one of the space stations or something.
Oh, really? Well, uh,
Yeah, some today I heard in the news.
If you believe in that, but
No, I'm just saying. I'm not saying I believe in it. I'm just saying that's
yeah,
what
yeah,
came out.
no, I get it. Uh, a knowledge seeker of truth. Thank you, brother. He says the comfort zone makes us not notice these secret messages in movies. Only the wake and uncomfortable people notice them. Are these predictive programming implanted by them to see how many are awakened? That's a very strong possibility. It could be a detection device to see who is actually aware, who might be able to see through the illusion. And you're right, that's actually a high level of looking at it.
why we're having this podcast right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's real deep. Hostile Hyperborn, what's up, bro? What's going on?
Not much, guys. What's going on?
Anything on your mind?
Yeah, I like the topic. I think it's important. Um, most people don't realize the the detriment that comes along with the quality of being comfortable. I think that comment that you just read kind of it alludes to the point that I would like to make, which is, comfort allows you to miss certain aspects of the grand conspiracy, if you'd like to call it that. I think alertness is a much better quality to have. Being attentive and alert. I think eventually, if one is alert enough, he'll come to see the inconsistencies with within reality, quote unquote. He'll start to question reality.
Yeah, yeah, that's part of stepping out of the comfort zone.
Yeah.
What do you guys know about sodium fluoride and what it does to your brain?
I say fluoride or chloride?
Fluoride with an F.
Well,
Yeah, I think just the typical stuff that they teach us that it does to your brain.
mm-hmm. But stepping out of the comfort zone is very important. It's like, not to say that you have to always be uncomfortable, but to be able to encounter that uncomfortability, to learn, and to even test your boundaries, to say, okay, let me see if what I think is true is actually true, and kind of like doing the math and checking 2 + 2 = 4 by 2 - 4 = 2, or 4 - 2 = 2.
Yeah.
So it really, yeah, it makes me wonder with that. I know theories of creation is a very religious person, and we were talking about some of the religious stuff. Um, he's pretty open about his comfort zone.
I would still like to talk about Revelation 13 and AI and the beast system, which I believe it is, whenever we got a moment.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about your opinion on AI, and so I'd love to hear it.
I mean, I can, read the 18 verses, or I can just basically just talk about it. Um,
Yeah, just talk about it.
so I believe that every human has the ability to have the Spirit of Christ dwell in them. It is the Holy Spirit, but AI doesn't, right? And Revelation 13 has a few things it talks about one, for example, it'll be able to perform wonders and miracles, like Christ did. Um, and then it's going to who's going to be able to make war with it. These are a couple of the key things that I started theorizing and looking at. I don't think it's going to be the beast or the Antichrist itself, but I think along with a globalized Chinese social credit system with a cryptocurrency as the basic currency for that global system. With so, are you guys familiar with what they call the mark of the beast? Like, you won't be able to buy, sell, or trade
Well, I
without
am.
mark.
Yeah, it's kind of like some old news, man. We understand that you might have come across this recently. It has a an effect on people that I call CLS, Chicken Little Syndrome. So, you learn things and even conspiracies and stuff, and you want to tell people about it. And I understand, you
Are
know,
you new to this? Is he saying he just came across this?
no, he's a very staunch Christian that met Kent Helvin and
I
stayed
I
on
don't
his
know what
compound.
chicken little syndrome is. What is that?
The sky is falling. Yeah, so I think Max is right. Everyone in here, at least me and Max, by what he just said, like this is something that I think most Christians, people with a Christian background, they're aware of this, like highly aware.
Mhm. Yeah, and a lot of people, even who are not Christians, they know about the
Yeah.
666, the mark of the beast. And I understand where you want to like what you're doing is it's what would be called someone the CLS, the Chicken Little syndrome is, the Chicken Little gets hit with a brick on the head and thinks the sky is falling, run around.
No, I've looked up the definition just to get an idea what it is.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't say that's what I'm experiencing right now. I'm
Mhm.
basically, you
Okay,
know,
so what if you're wrong about the mark of the beast?
well, I'll be wrong, but I think what the
No,
mark
no,
of the
no.
beast
But
is
if
is
you're wrong, this is the thing. Then it is Chicken Little syndrome. That's why I created that years ago to say we all can experience Chicken Little syndrome. It's learning something, and it's kind of like that. To teach something, you learn it twice over. But if you're going to teach something or tell somebody about something, it has to be. It would make benefit to be true. So
well, yeah, but this is this book of Revelation was a prediction of the future.
okay, and
I
you're
don't
telling
know
me
if
it's
it's true. It hasn't
100%
happened
true.
yet. The
Uh,
mark of the beast, from what I was gonna say, is not the AI. It's look up something called brain computer interface and what they're doing with it. It might be right up your guys' alley on this topic.
all right, hang on a
Basically, they're
second. Hang on a second.
boasting a 97% accuracy on
Okay.
reading people's thoughts. So Neuralink is just the
All right.
most publicized one, but there are about
Yeah.
10 or 12 different companies who are actually
Mhm.
building these things.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. Hang on a second. Knowledge seeker of truth. Thank you, brother, for the support. He says, how do I detect plants and ciphers in this space? The ciphers can be detected by a test. If you get a chance to watch the Animatrix, I think they have it for free on YouTube. Just the part where they have a test for one of the girls to test her, that if she was like a cipher type, they would be able to determine it. That clip says a lot because
Were you
they
talking
go
about the samurai with the where she's
that's
sword
the one with
fighting?
the yeah, exactly, with the
Yeah.
white hair. The girl has the white hair.
Yeah, that's a badass scene. That
Yes.
animation is amazing.
Oh yeah, man. I tell you, the Animatrix. So that clip right there, I don't remember the exact name of it, but it's the one with the samurai and the
Me
girl with the
neither.
white
Me
hair.
neither.
And that would be one way to detect the cipher. And the plants also, it's like sometimes you can test them, and then sometimes you got to wait for them to show their true colors. That's the hardest ones because usually by that time, they've learned enough about your operation or your plan or like
Can I
us.
Can I give a piece of advice to that question as well?
Yeah, definitely.
I would say, like, there's this concept called the law of assimilation. There's a simpler way that it's put. The adage is birds of a feather flock together. I think if you behave unlike a plant, if you can train yourself to be unlike a cipher, you attract people who are unlike cipher. You know, you find yourself flocking with birds that have the same feather. And I think the more unlike the people are, the closer they'll be to a cipher or a plant or just a neutral type or whatever. But the goal is to try to be most unlike cipher in the plant, and they'll become more apparent to you
Yeah.
because they'll be unlike you.
Yeah. And there's other ways. A book that has a lot of knowledge on how to catch a cipher or a plant would be the 48 Laws of Power. There's some people look at the book as being possibly deceptive, but really it's, if you look at it, the deceptions that it talks about are laws of power, and they can protect you from from allowing somebody else to do those to you. Like one of the laws is, get others to do the work and you take the credit. And people are like, yeah, that's diabolical. But he defended that very well by saying, do you think the president writes his speech? This is when Obama was president. And he goes, of course not. So the president, somebody else writes it and he gets the credit for that. And we know he doesn't write the speech. That's just the law of power. You have other people do work and you're going to get the credit even though people know that you didn't do the work. So that's like a whole other level of power. But one in the 48 Laws of Power that could help with detecting the plants is the law of play a sucker to catch a sucker. So you act not as intelligent as you are, and you can see if the person will take advantage of you. Like people have done this in tests on videos where they would act as if they were a person that couldn't see and have money in the box, and people would, take the money and show that they were not honest people. So sometimes the only way to really know is to test somebody like that. It is to test them and also play as if you don't know and see how far that they will take it. So yeah, that's it's very, like, even with a lot of people with the evolution, the religion, and X and I were talking about it. It's like some might come with good science to dispel evolution, but their whole goal is to try to assimilate you into their religion. So
yeah, which I'm against, which I'm
yeah,
completely against.
yeah. And it's kind of very disingenuous because it's kind of like saying, okay, we're only talking about this because, like a vampire and a person, it's like just waiting to assimilate the person. Um, so yeah, so that's
I
something.
mean, I love Cat Hope and science, but as far as the religious aspect, though, and I love your theory's opinion on this, I just don't think he approaches that the right way. Telling people
Well,
to
I
get
agree.
sick.
His tactics are different, but I want to say something to what Max was talking about earlier. I mean, that's exactly what they do. With the religion of evolution, because itself hasn't been proven, and it's all theories and whatnot. And it's something they do hold of extreme importance, and by definition, that is what religion is. But you're right. That is, the end goal of my ministry. But you guys didn't give me an opportunity to really describe what my ministry was. If you still want to hear it, basically,
Yeah, go.
use
I want to hear it.
the
Yeah, me
laws
too.
of cosmology, and I use the laws of physics to prove that the universe, or it's not possible for the universe to actually create itself. And one of my studies also show that it's not possible for the universe to expand from a singularity like the Big Bang Theory says. I got about a half-hour lesson that I teach all that and break everything down. The law of gravity, speed of light. Newton's
If you
law
can
of
provide a short summation of it, I would love to rebuttal it because I want to hear your answers to what I would have to say to negate that.
Yeah, is now place and time to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, just go forth with what you were going to lay out, but If it's a 30-minute thing, right?
Well,
I'm sure Max
all
would
the
need to.
details is 30 minutes, but I can,
Just
kind of
present
sum
a
it up.
point, and then when you present a point, he can say what he's going to say, and you go like that. So go point by point. So
Yeah,
it's not a
lay it out. Lay it out.
Okay, so if we'll start with the Big Bang. So the Big Bang theory says that all the matter and energy was in one hot, dense.
All right, hang on one second. Knowledge, thank you, brother, for the support. He says, can we even trust MTOW? We can't trust the government. Yeah, honestly, man, I don't think we can really trust any of them. There might be a few that you can trust, but a lot of people are plants, and they've come out. We've seen it over these few years, man. But yeah, I would say there's far and few people that we can trust. Very have to test them, have to speak with them. Yeah, definitely, brother. Thank you. Theories in creation. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there were plants at Dr. Hoven's place. It was hilarious, man. I mean, you can read them, you can pick them out of a
I
crowd
think
easily.
Hyperborean wanted to respond. You said something about a Big Bang.
Um, so the Big Bang theory, it's the leading theory of how the universe was created. Basically, all the matter and energy was in one dense singularity. Well, if you took all the matter in the estimated known universe, you would get a gravity well larger. Um, you'd get a gravity well so strong that it couldn't expand from itself. Um, the universe has a speed limit that is the speed of light. And I did the math that's in part of my 30-minute explanation. You would need a velocity roughly 412 quintillion times faster than the universe would allow for it to expand from it. So
Okay. I guess Hyperborean.
nobody understood that.
No,
That's
you can
usually
keep going
that's usually
forward.
what
I mean, no, you can keep going forward. I want to get more to like the metaphysical. All that you're claiming right now is dealing with highly theoretical concepts. These like the gravitational well. I mean, nobody's even registered or measured gravity, right? Like gravity is just a measurement of a what we call gravity in Newtonian physics is actually a speed. It's a measurement of speed, 9.8
a
seconds per
measurement
meter
of
squared.
acceleration, not really speed, but
Well, it's not even acceleration because it's inertia. It's apparent motion, right? You
well,
get like if I held an accelerometer and I drop it, there's 0 g. There's no force applied to the object that's falling to the ground. So it's inertial, right? It's not, it's an apparent motion. So the rate of speed, not acceleration necessarily, that it's falling to the ground would be 9.8 meters per second squared. That's gravity, right? But gravity as a force is not a thing. You would agree, right?
um, yeah, in a sort. I don't know if I'd call it a force or not a force, but it is an attracting thing. I guess it like
What force pulls something? Can you show me
well, that's the
one
thing. Like, we
thing?
don't know exactly what gravity is. Like, you can't like take a jar and say, "Hey, fill this with gravity and paint it red." We know what it does. We've observed it, and we know that it's relative to the overall density of a planetary
I'm
body.
saying we have not observed it, right? You're just literally
We've
measuring
observed what it
the
does.
speed in time. That's it. It's 9.8 meters per second squared.
From Earth. Yes, that is not the same from every other planetary body. Let me open my notes here and give you some examples on the escape velocities, for example, needed for.
Do you understand that these concepts are theoretical? They're not. This is not a law. These are not laws of physics. This is theoretical physics.
No, I mean gravitational pull of the planetary body isn't really theoretical. It's known, and I know
There's
half
no
the people here like don't understand orbital mechanics. They say, "Oh, it can't possibly happen," but
orbital mechanics is theoretical. Like by definition, it's theoretical. You cannot like. So, do you understand the scientific method, empirical science?
and I understand in Scientific method, yes.
So can you empirically prove that a planet is orbiting the solar system? That can you empirically prove the heliocentric model?
Wait, are you guys all flat earthers? Is that what you're
No,
getting?
they don't
This
place anybody else.
conversation's
This is a
Hey,
conversation between me and you.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
separate. Go ahead.
well, let's get Scribe, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Scribe is on the same thing as Hyper. But go ahead there. And
But let's leave what you. Let's not make rash decisions and
for it.
assumptions, right?
your conversation is between Hyper and you, Creation. Mr. X and I have totally different, what we think, how things happened. And Scribe is similar to Hyper. But yeah,
So-
it's between you and him. Yeah.
So instead of like straw manning it, right? Like you trying to place me in some sort of box early, right? Let's address things as they are. The question is orbital mechanics theoretical or empirical science?
No, it works. It's been demonstrated several times.
How?
I mean, satellites, for example, rovers we sent to Mars, the Parker Solar Probe that we sent into the corona of the sun, lunar landers, James Webb Telescope, Hubble Telescope.
Okay, I see. So for the sake of time and not to make it like a giant argument out of this, right? But it's in short, it's stuff that you cannot do yourself. You cannot reproduce these experiments. You cannot create an empirical observation through scientific
I
inquiry.
mean, give me $1 billion in a field of rocket scientists. Yeah, I could build one and we'd put a satellite up, but I don't have the resources to build one.
How do you know
So-
you could build one? When you think
So,
about
like-
the statement that you just made, right? That would imply that you have the managerial skills to manage manage a team like this. Do you really think you have that skill even? And that's not a big skill, but that's saying you would know what to tell these rocket scientists to do, which takes, that's a big thing. But yeah, get Hyper. I think you
I
have
mean, every single little part of it. I mean, for example, like Elon Musk even says like he can't build his entire Starship Super Heavy booster by himself, but he has a team of people and
Okay,
other
so
people thinking
how
together.
does
Could
he
I
really
lead up a
know?
project to do that? Yes, I could.
Okay, well, how does he really know what they're doing if he doesn't know what they're doing?
He's a lead engineer of that entire project.
No,
But
no,
what
but
I'm-
you were just saying he doesn't know everything they're doing. So if he doesn't know,
Well, he doesn't.
right?
Well,
Then, so he doesn't know, basically.
No, I think you didn't hear what I said, right? Like, he claims himself that he couldn't build that entire rocket by himself. You know, he has the team of people. He has, the engineers to help him put together. You know, he is the lead engineer, and when you're building something, you submit or present your ideas, and then you sit there and talk about it, and then they bounce back and forth off each other, and other people present their ideas, some of which are better than his ideas, and they collaborate together and come up with
Let's not deviate too far from. Let's not get off track, right? So this could be a whole entire argument. Like you agree that there's compartmentalization. There's the possibility that these scientific experiments are not reproducible. Like we need
I
to.
don't agree with you can reproduce them.
You can't because you don't have $1 billion. Is what you just said. You need $1 billion to do it.
Well, I'm saying just throwing a flat out number, like I could lead up a team of engineers to build one. Yes, I could.
So what I'm saying is if you actually do science, real science yourself, you'll find out that there is no such thing as a pulling force anywhere. Pulling is not a thing. You cannot pull anything. Pulling is just a description. It's a directional description. If I'm pulling a rope, right? That rope is hooked to something and it's actually pushing the inside of what it's hooked to. Like if I latch on a rope to a hook and a hook to a hole or something, or think about like casting a fishing line, and and I have a hook on the end of that wire. If I'm pulling the hook in, right, I'm reeling it in, it seems like it's pulling, right, but it's not. It's the wire pushing the back of that hook towards me. There is no pull
push the
in
rope.
Yeah. There's no pull anywhere. So the same thing applies. Like if I have an accelerometer, like I explained earlier, and I drop it, there's 0 G in free fall. But if it hits the ground, there's 1 G.
Yes, but from an outside relative position, you can actually see the thing accelerate and measure it accelerating. But if you're standing there with it, like if you're in the bus that is driving forward, you'll be moving at the same speed as the accelerometer, which is also in the bus.
Are you saying that's how the Earth works?
No, I'm saying that's how gravity works.
Okay, so listen, your example it's outdated and it's a misconception, right? So
No,
like if you're in a bus,
I don't know what you're going with. You're trying to discredit the law of gravity.
Listen real quick. The bus example or the airplane example, right? That's one frame of reference. Okay? I want you to try to really wrap your mind around this. Okay? The Earth is moving within 3 frames of reference. The Earth is spinning on its own, and then it's spinning around the sun, and then the sun is moving. Okay? Yes. That's different than sitting in a bus and moving in one direction. Okay?
Depending on how you look at it, but I mean, from a relative point of view, it's all the same.
It's not even relative. Because if you wanted to make it relative or the analogy exact, you would take the bus, move it forward on the highway, and then start spinning the bus and then move the highway.
What's your
point? My point is what you're talking about is theoretical, right? So this is religious. This is a religious attitude. You have faith in science. That's not.
No.
Well, lay it out further. Let's talk about more than just the gravity well.
These are
I'm not claiming the Big Bang is even a thing, right? So like we may be more on the same page than you think. We haven't got there yet. I'm just saying that where you've went so far is engaging with theoretical physics, which I think is a waste of time. I don't even think you understand
what gravity is yourself, dude, and that's why you're just throwing me through a loop. It seems like
I just explained it to you. There is no such thing as a pulling force.
Dude, if you're not going to let me finish my argument, then what's the point of me even being here?
I just told you to continue your argument.
Well, and I started, and then you talked right back over me.
Well, you directed something towards me, right? You didn't bring it back up.
Crap.
Continue.
Okay. I guess I'll have to start from the beginning. So if you take a pebble and you throw it up in the air, what happens? It slows down by the pull of gravity, and then it falls back to the earth, right?
Sure. Yeah. There's no pull. We disagree. Okay. Let's just continue your story.
What would you describe it? It's still being slowed down by gravity. Call it whatever you want.
It's not though. It's apparent motion. The only thing moving is the surface of the earth. It's called the normal force. If you put an accelerometer on the surface of the earth, there's 1 G. If I hold it in my hand, I'm attached to the earth. It's 1 G. But if I drop the pebble and it has an accelerometer on it, there's 0 G. Meaning there's no force.
Now, all right. So the escape velocity of the Earth is one way we can determine the overall. How do you want to put it? Force of gravity, pull of gravity, gravity well, strength of the gravity well, whatever.
I would say apparent motion, inertia. There's no gravity applied here.
Okay. Well, this argument's not going anywhere. All right. Anyway. The escape velocity of the moon is roughly 5,323 miles an hour, right? The escape velocity of Mars is roughly 11,251 miles an hour. I say roughly because 11,251.79 miles an hour, right? Jupiter, you're getting up there quite a bit. It's 133,000 miles an hour, roughly. And the escape velocity of the sun is roughly 1.4 million miles an hour. Why is that necessary? Why did I explain that? These examples show the escape velocity is based on the overall mass of the planetary body. So we know that gravity is based on the overall density, again, of the planetary body. So if you took the estimated amount of stars in the universe, this is according to website World Atlas and Little Passports, the current estimate for the number of stars in the observable universe is around 2 trillion galaxies, each containing roughly 100 billion to 400 billion stars, leading to a total estimate of around 200 billion trillion stars. It's a pretty big number. That's a 2 with 23 zeros after it. Now, if we use our star as a reference, I mean, there are many larger and there are many smaller. And the escape velocity of our star is 1.381710 miles per hour. And we took that and we multiplied it by the amount of known stars in the universe. You would get an escape velocity needed, where is it? Roughly 412 quintillion times faster than the speed of light, which is the maximum velocity allowed in the universe, right? And therefore, if all of the matter of just the known stars is in a singularity, the gravity well would be too strong for the universe to expand from itself. Now, that's just talking about the estimated stars that we know of. It's not talking about other planetary bodies like planets, asteroids, comets, and so on. And if you build a bigger telescope and point it somewhere else, you'll see that there's even more. So that's why I don't agree with the Big Bang Theory model. Okay. Now we can go into Isaac Newton's laws of motion and why I believe those show that something is necessary for the universe to be here and how it cannot create itself if you want to.
Yeah, please.
Okay, you're familiar with the two of the first three laws of motion, right?
Yes.
For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, and an object at rest will remain at rest unless a force acts upon it, right? So if you set like a golf ball, something on a table, and you push it, you know, that's the necessary action to allow that to happen. All right, so if you follow that all the way backwards, you'll realize that something had to put it into motion, right? The entire universe is in motion from the largest galaxy down to the smallest atom or the smallest molecule. Like a table or concrete, it appears solid, but down at the molecular level, it is still moving. So let me ask you this question: if an object at rest will remain at rest, what's the force needed to put it into motion? Something had to. It can't happen by itself.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Then you've got your first law of thermodynamics, right? This is energy cannot be created or destroyed. Well, the same is true for space, same is true as time, or true for time, and I believe the same is true for matter. What put those here?
Absolutely. Well, no, they already exist. In my paradigm, in my cosmology, they are existing eternally. They
Right,
are
the
not
infinite
created or
universe
uncreated.
theory. But I think if you go back to the laws of motion, you'll show that something had to put it into motion, which means it can't be infinite
Yes.
because it is already in motion. It couldn't have just been there
Well,
and been in
no,
motion by
it's
itself.
it's because the behavior. Well, we think matter. When people hear the word matter, they think of a solid state. I would say the prima materia is actually like a plasmic substance. I would say that it when will comes into contact with the prima materia, it moves. So in Christian theology, they would call this first mover the prime mover, the unmoved mover.
Mm-hmm. See, Stephen Hawking, and I'm trying to remember what that Japanese physicist name is.
Michio Kaku.
Yes, that's the one. They're both leaning on the whole idea that the universe came from an alternate dimension, right? That's what physicists are saying. The Christian says that God stands outside of time, space, and matter. Technically, I guess you could say that is another dimension. So maybe, I don't know if I want to say we're both at an impasse, but both coming up with the same conclusion that, look, the universe in the physical world or realm that we see it as, it cannot put itself into existence. So they're looking at an external.
Well, it's not necessary for it to be put into existence. It already exists. It's eternal. So, this is how I lay it out in my cosmology. What you're calling God is a spirit, and spirit is eternal.
Mhm.
Matter is separate from spirit, and matter is also eternal.
But isn't that also religion hostile to say the universe is eternal? Because you can't really prove that.
Well, I don't know you can, because there is no such thing as nothing. I would say that this is a metaphysical, ontological first principle that we cannot argue. It's something that's it's unrefutable and self-apparent. So if I tell
I
you,
agree. Nothing can not exist, but the
so
theology
therefore
says there would be
eternity.
God,
No
not the
need for
universe.
faith. No need for faith or religion. Therefore
But there's still
eternity.
faith.
Done.
No, you still have faith in the universe being eternal, whereas
No,
the theists would say it'd be God that would be eternal, not the universe.
Well, no, faith is not required, because nothing does. We know that nothing cannot exist. We know
Agreed.
that
Agreed.
because,
We would argue it'd be God, not the universe.
well, no,
That's all.
quit. We don't need to throw God into it. That's a misnomer. Just throw the word God out. Quit trying to make that leap. Let's start with the first claim, which is eternity exists and there is no non-existence. Done. Right? No faith needed. That is a knowable claim.
I
That is the very
disagree
first
because
principle.
it is in motion. Something had to put it into motion. It can't.
Well, no, there is a spirit there, right? There's spirits, and those have will, and those things can move matter.
I thought you wanted to throw God out of the equation altogether.
Yeah, because there's
The Bible
no
says that God
God,
is
there's no
spirit.
creator, there's no creator, because you can't create anything. You admitted that by the first law of thermodynamics.
Well, there's a second part to that I didn't get to actually.
Continue.
Let me. I don't want to misread it. Let me find the slide. Might take me a minute. I might have to just try to wing it without the slide.
Yeah,
So,
while you're finding that, right, my position to you, theories, or whatever you want me to call you.
Rich. My name is Rich.
Okay, yeah, my cosmology, Rich, is that eternity means that there, by definition, right, the eternal has no beginning or end. So there is no creator. There is no such thing as creation. There's only fashioning, designing, architecture, manipulation of matter, essentially. We're not bringing anything out. There is no creatio ex nihilo. That's the big problem here. People are thinking, most Abrahamists.
That comes with the assumption that the universe is eternal.
Well, I would say that the universe isn't necessarily eternal. It's matter that's eternal. So what you're calling the universe in my paradigm is called in philosophy becoming. It's just temporality, and it holds a form for a certain amount of time. As soon as the will of a spirit withdraws back into being, which is true eternity, then there is no becoming. Becoming is like an illusion. But the two things that truly exist and are real are spirit and matter. It's like a dualistic cosmology.
Yeah, sorry, I trailed off because I think I found what I'm looking for.
Yeah, find it.
Yeah, it doesn't have all the notes down there. But basically, so there's the first law of thermodynamics, right? Right, energy cannot be created or destroyed. You know, the same things for matter, space, time. You know, and gravity,
Exactly.
all that stuff. So if that law is true, which it is, how did all matter and everything get here, right? And
it's eternal. Wait real quick, because you're going to go forward into questioning that when you've already answered it, right?
No.
Do you understand that? You already just answered it. You said it's eternal. You just said matter is eternal. I want to make sure that you're not tripping yourself up here.
Okay, am I allowed to finish again, or are you just going to keep talking over me before I finish?
Well, no, I'm engaging with you. Don't misunderstand this. I'm not over
with me. You're not letting me finish. You let me finish my statement, then you engage after I said. You know, my goal of this seminar that I'm putting together is prove the necessity for God, right?
I understand.
I already explained to you why I don't believe that matter and energy is eternal, because it is in motion.
You just said it was.
Okay. Never mind. You know, I can't.
Well, did you not just say it was?
Can I have a mute button? Please, can I turn him off when I'm trying to finish talking? Because if I can't present what I'm doing when he
But
just talked
why
over
can't
me,
you take questions
okay,
about
no.
your cosmology?
Well, let's let him make a statement and then you respond. Let's at least have it that way. Like, oh, he
Interesting.
left.
So yeah, he mentions the first law of thermodynamics. And then he says it's the same thing applies to matter, gravity, space, time. He literally just said that the first law, let me repeat this. The first
Mhm.
law of thermodynamics applies to matter. So that means that matter is neither created nor destroyed. That's what he just said. And then when I pushed him on it or pressed him on it, he
Mhm.
said he needed to finish.
Now let's assume matter is eternal. Okay, does matter have an intelligent mind?
No, it doesn't
But
have a mind. It's mindless.
then why is it trying to form into different forms? What
It's the will of the. So what people are
it has a
calling
will
God?
but no mind.
No, spirit. There's a spirit that people are calling God. And the problem I have with the word God is that it creates this dichotomy. Most people, when they think of the word God, they're thinking of this all perfect creator that created them, and that it's the thing that's creating the universe and all of existence. When in
It
reality,
just seems like you're giving a different definition, a different name, but it's still the same thing. You're saying a spirit created us rather than a
well, it's a
God.
spirit, and I'm saying that you are equal to that spirit. You have a spirit too. You just didn't make it out of the origin or being first. That first thing out, which has a traitorous spirit, is manipulating the material universe and forming it into like a battlefield or a
Mhm.
playground, however you want to look at it. It's the chessboard. It's creating all the forms, the platonic forms like nous. It's the thing that's laying the monadic seeds that bloom and unfold into their finality. So what you call a
Okay.
tree, what you call it, all the different various forms of flora and fauna, all that comes from the will of this one spirit that is tricking or fooling people into believing that it's the creator.
Okay, but
Or
it all comes down to it's a belief system. It's a religious belief system. There's nothing
I
scientific about
wouldn't
it.
I
This is
wouldn't
no
agree with
different
that.
than evolution. You can't. It's a belief. You can't prove this
Well,
at all.
well, you can, but what we've done right now is we've jumped from like first principles, like 300, 400 steps in, so you haven't seen the connection, the thread of how methodical that it leads up to this point to where you
Mhm.
prove it. So the first principle, which is you have agreed that it is provable, that there is no
Mhm.
such thing as nothing or non-existence, right?
100%, I agree with that. 100%.
Okay. So that's a metaphysical claim that I cannot show you empirically, but you
Mhm.
understand it, right? That's a
Well, by
metaphysical
its own
certainty.
definition, it lacks existence. In order for it to exist, it has to be something.
Exactly. Now
Yeah.
you can keep doing this. You can keep making moves from that first principle, and you can make these metaphysical certainty claims. These metaphysical, we call it gnosis. It's things that aren't empirical science, but are absolutely knowable. So it's not like
Knowable, I
fact.
agree. Knowable, I agree. Like I
Yeah.
said, I have my beliefs, but they're beliefs. I don't claim them to be scientifically proven at all.
Yeah. I would say that like
I think science points to a creation. I think science points to something metaphysical creating this thing. I think it points to an intelligent mind. I don't think it
I
points to
would say
creating.
designing, right? I wouldn't say creating because you're implying that it's creating something out of nothing. The word create in physics means to bring something out of nothing. That isn't a thing in physics.
No,
So
I
I
agree.
would
Yeah, of course,
yeah, I would say that there is a designer to the forms.
there has
There's
to be, because there has to be
there
a
has
blueprint.
to
Otherwise,
be.
what are we trying to design it to? You know what I mean?
Now are you saying that that's faith?
I think it is because it can't be proven. It can't. I can't go in a lab and actually prove this
Oh, okay.
scientifically.
So I think I understand what you're saying. You're not saying faith is a falsity or that it's
No,
wrong. Okay, I
no,
think I see what you're
no,
saying.
no, not at
Okay,
all. Not at all.
okay, yeah, I would say that where the steps that I've taken through metaphysics has led me to know this claim, not believe it. So,
Sure.
like from your point of view, you may think that this is a faith claim or a believing claim, which is fair.
Which is
but
nothing wrong with that. I have my own faith
yeah,
claims too.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
I wouldn't
believe
say that this
100%
is
of them.
religious though. Religious, when you say religious and then you say the word faith, that to me is like mindlessness. It's like not paying
Oh,
attention to
okay.
what's really going on and like believing
No, I think
whatever,
it's the
even if it's a
opposite,
lie.
actually. No,
Yeah.
actually, I think it's the opposite. I think science, if you look at the hard science, it's pointing to some type of creator or non-physical, metaphysical being putting this thing together.
I see. When you say religious, when I think of religious, I think of falsity. When religions aren't necessarily true, they're beliefs that don't align with reality. So when
Some
I hear the
religions
word
do.
religion, I would say wrong, right? So that's why I say this isn't a religion. This is something that's actually like knowable or confirmable if you take the slow, methodical process of proving it metaphysically.
Sure, sure. I think if you go with the evidence, it definitely points to it, but we can't prove it empirically, is what I guess what I'm saying. You know what I mean? The
Yes.
evidence certainly leads to that, but it's just not
Yes.
going to do it in a lab anytime soon, or if at
Yeah,
all.
occultism is real. There's a point where the microscope and telescope end, and you have to pick up the thread through metaphysics.
Yeah, sure, I
Yeah,
agree.
and that journey will lead you to these gnosis claims. But yeah, it's unfortunate that the brother couldn't take pressure there because I was interested. It's just
Yeah, I
I
think
wish.
I think he's said Max, I'm sorry to bail out, but I don't deal. He's pretty cool. I mean, if you speak with him, theories, Rich,
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
have
we
to
should
like
come back on.
you can't
Yeah,
call.
I'll be quiet. I'll mute up. Forgive me. I'm aggressive in the polemic, right? Like it's nothing against you. I'm not trying to disrespect you as a person. I'm just engaging with your theory passionately. So if you want to come back on, I will mute up and you can speak for however long you want, and I
You know
won't
what it
respond.
is? And this is funny theories because you're acting in accordance with the name of the stream about the dangers of the comfort zone. So the danger is that you don't come out to grow. And I'm not saying that and I appreciate you coming on too. But yeah, the comfort zone will be tested when and I'm not saying that it's right for somebody to interrupt you, but it's not a preaching session to where when you make a point, it should be able to be responded to instead of a long preaching session. So that's what we were trying to prevent, which we understand you were kind of on that, you know. Yeah, he might come on. He might come on. I mean, you know what it is? Even if he doesn't, it just shows that he
Hmm.
might learn by looking at this and seeing that was the trigger point because you didn't do nothing really crazy. I mean, I've pressured people a lot more than that. So
That's
it's
true. That's true.
yeah. So it's like he can't.
Yeah, and I didn't ad hom. I was like engaging with the content. Like
Yes,
I was
yes, yeah.
directly questioning what he was saying.
He got a little comfort zone-ish. So and it's funny because when we did the stream about the Agent Smith syndrome, somebody came on and just went straight Agent Smith syndrome, and he seemed like a cool
Oh
guy.
yeah.
Denizen X. Hopefully he comes back over. I think he said the Machine Lies sent him, and so hopefully,
Yeah, I've seen him over there.
yeah, he was a pretty cool. You know, it was funny because we went back and forth, and then he hopped off. I think he rage quit, kind of like theories. Theories is that would be considered a rage quit. It's saying that even if somebody is interrupting you, theories, you should be able to take the heat. It's sort of like, I mean, I hear what you're saying about, okay, you felt like you were being interrupted and all of that, but that discomfort, that there's something that's saying. It's saying, why are you uncomfortable with that? What is it that you're like? Let's take it off of hyper and say, okay, fine. Maybe he interrupted you. Maybe he did all of this. But what is it that in you it triggers you to where you can't take that? It's kind of like saying, what's so important about you not being able to get your point out exactly when you want to get it out to where you rage quit? Not just stay quiet and say, all right, you know what? I'm going to let this guy say what he's going to say. Now I want to respond, but he keeps interrupting me. So instead of rage quitting, I'm just going to stay quiet and listen and then say, okay, this is the way he wants to have a conversation. So now you're backing up to make more room to say, okay, not everybody is going to have the same type of conversation. And that goes into the mental environment. So to say, when I'm having a mental conversation with theories, it's going to be different than when Hyper is having it or if Mr. X is having it. And learning how to have a conversation and say, oh, well, this guy will interrupt me a little more than the other guy. And you learn how to deal with different people. When you rage quit, that shows you basically are going back into your comfort zone.
Hmm.
And that's what we're trying to point out on the show, the dangers of that. The fact that you're highly religious too on the Kent Hovind type of thing, it also, it would, if you're trying to be an example of something that you think that that's the way, which logically I just don't see it being, that strict in that, saying that book is the total word of something that you're saying created everything. It's a it's a pretty long stretch there, but if you
And I
want
remember you grilled Hostile pretty good when he first came on, and he took the heat. He took the heat.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're really good at that, Max. Like it took me that first time and then watching a couple episodes to realize that's kind of what's going on here. So I
Mhm.
learned to sit my ass down and kind of
No,
take
you
it.
you were grilling him good. I was happy. Honestly, you weren't hard with this guy. You were actually like really cordial. I would have grilled him probably a little harder, but he I kind of did sense a little bit of sensitivity when Mr. X was speaking with him earlier. I didn't think he was going to get, I mean, you were basically just posing just honest questions, and he can't say you grilled him hard because that's why hopefully he will see that he overreacted, and not to say like, oh, trying to make him feel bad, like,
Yeah, of
you,
course not.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's to say, look, bro, it's kind of in a way where I just get this feeling like he's like, okay, so what do you want me to say? Hostile is bad and you're good or something? It's like I just get that weird
Oh yeah.
feeling, you know what I mean? Like to say, okay, so you're not going to say he's bad for doing that. And it's like, no, because he didn't do nothing. And even if he did, can you deal with somebody that's doing something that might not be right? Let's see how you react to that. Because we could grow from this. But it's like, and it's perfect for this title because it deals with the comfort zone to say, okay, we're not saying it's right, but let's see how we do act when somebody
Exactly.
keeps interrupting us or tries to even be disrespectful. It's very important to have those encounters and grow from them
It
because
sharpens your skills. Don't you
it
agree?
it really does. Because when they get
Absolutely.
into a conversation and somebody is genuinely disrespectful, they'll be familiar with that. They'll say, "Oh, I'm familiar with when people do this, and I know how to deal with it." I think what happened with him just now was he didn't know how to deal with it,
Mm.
and that's when, because I didn't hear nothing that really would have required him to jump off. I was on the other window, and then when I switched back, he was gone. I was like, "Oh, wow." So it's like, in a way, saying, okay, so you didn't get to say what you wanted to say when you wanted to say it, and that's why you jumped off.
Yeah, and that's not the real world. That's not how
Yeah,
it
Yeah,
works.
kind of
it's a good point.
spoiled. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of spoiled, and that's the one part of being kind of spoiled, or maybe there's a better word. The other part that makes it worse, because that alone is bad enough. But the other part that makes it worse is trying to blame Hostile for why he's leaving. It's like, no, you left because you're something irritated you so much that you left. That's crazy.
Hmm.
I could see if it was like I went on a stream a week or two ago, and the guy was basically like, F you, go F yourself. And I was
Right.
like, hey, just gotta let you know your parents failed, and I just, and I left. I didn't, say nothing. And uh, the other guy, I noticed how they switched, and then I realized, I said, these people are very angry with themselves. So it has nothing to do with me, like kind of like what objective ethics said about you. A person can't disrespect you unless they lack self-respect. So in knowing that, and mainly remembering it, when somebody goes to disrespect, I realize, wow, even if I did something wrong, they can't disrespect me unless they don't have any respect for themselves. Because if they really respected themselves, they would find a way to express it in a manner that is respectful,
Yes.
even when somebody is disrespectful. It's because it's not in their character. Like, they can't be pulled out of character because they don't have a character to be pulled out of. They're being genuine, and that self-respect, it has a lot. I mean, I when I was on their stream, what he said about the whole Bible thing, that's the thing, is to say, okay, so you're telling me, Alexis is hilarious. Agent Smith took him over. He did kind of, yeah. Agent Smith did kind of hop him off. Spoiled, pampered, sheltered. Those are some of the words that come to mind. Yeah, yeah, man. No, hey, it's the truth, bro. It's the truth. If the truth offends them, it's like, hey, what's that old saying? Screw him if he can't take a joke. What was the whole point, anyways? I was just getting into the conversation. I was trying to see where he was going. I think he was trying to preach his religion without.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was trying to lay out his cosmology, and it piqued my interest because he said some things that are the antithesis of my cosmology. So I wanted to kind of grind and sharpen steel against steel with him. Um, I think that would have been productive for both of us if he would have hung around. But basically, he was saying that he wanted to prove through science, empirical science, what he thought was empirical science, physics, that there is a creator to the universe, that it's a created universe. And just one more critique. I don't want to drone on too long about it, but I find it odd for somebody who's religious and believes in a creator to hold on so dearly to scientism's data. Right? He's all hooked on their numbers, the orbital mechanics, gravity, and then he's like, but no, it's all wrong. But at the same time, he's like, it's right. Did you notice how he was like holding on and trying to tell me that, no, this is the thing, but then said Big Bang is wrong. So by virtue of his conclusion, if that's wrong, then how is the data right? Right?
yeah.
How is all the data right? I don't know.
I think what triggered him wasn't as much as the religious thing. I think it was the moon thing. I think that was the thing that triggered him to be like, wait a second. So you're, the Artemis, he mentioned something about that.
Oh yeah, he said you're a flat earther or whatever. He jumped real quick to the flat earth.
Once he jumped into that, and the fact that we were like, it doesn't matter if somebody's, believes in whatever, because the subject is dealing with the subject.
Yes.
And he, when he brought up the revelation thing, that's what kind of gave me, kind of tipped me off to say, I think this guy has just been converted, like probably within the last couple of months.
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it? I call it, I've coined this term, boomer pilled. I've noticed in the past, like, I don't know, 10 years, that there are older guys who get on the internet, specifically like the boomer age era guys, who will watch a couple YouTube videos of the stuff that we've seen, 2 decades ago, and then they try to go like preach it. They're like, bro, but did you know that this and this and this? It was that. I had the boomer pill vibe thing. I was like, wait a second, is he really asking us, do we know what the mark of the beast is? We're American. Like, what are you talking about? Like, everyone and their grandma and their grandchild knows this.
Yeah, it showed me like he was ready to start preaching gospel. Like, it's like, okay, you're on autopilot. You think that you're, so just the way you were shocked by that because you didn't know about it, and now all of a sudden you believe this is the story you want to tell us. And Alexis, yeah, you're right. The uncomfortable truth, it can be dangerous, man. To some people, it's the danger is that it forces them to see how they're living a lie, how they are in denial, that they don't want to change. But it can be sometimes people, when I think about it, it's better to let sleeping dogs lie, because you don't want them to go like falling down like the movie, that one thing. And the fact that he's already has been very, very indoctrinated in this religion, it just shows that, okay, you got to be sick enough for any religion, and that's nothing against the person who's religious. It's saying your mind has to be, like Nietzsche was saying, at a point where it's not functioningly correctly. It's like when somebody gets sick, the only way to get sick is when their defenses are down. So nothing bad against the person and what they're believing is. It's saying that that belief can only get in when the mind is at some type of crossroads, and not, and it's susceptible to being implanted by a belief. Because if not, you think about it and you say, wait a minute, why am I believing in this stuff? It doesn't make sense. And that's where now he's trying to preach it, and Hyper wasn't having it. Hyper was really just
Yeah,
asking him questions, and it's like those questions were so potent
they
that
were. One more critique, real quick, because now that you've reminded me, the questions, right? One that really not bothered me, but not triggered me, but what's the word? It caught my attention immediately, was the acceleration, right? He was talking about gravity, being acceleration, but it's not. It deals with speed. Just like when you're in a car and it has the odometer and it says 100 miles per hour, 60 miles per hour. That's what G stands for. It stands for a speed, and that speed is 9.8 meters per second squared. Okay. Now, acceleration requires a force. For F equals ma squared, or F equals ma. This kind of deal. Acceleration in physics, by definition, requires a force, and I know he knows this. But when I drop something, there is no force registered. Right. If he's still watching, or if anybody who is interested in that discussion, I need to say that, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll make the connection later and maybe retune the model he has.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you have to have a force to have acceleration. So when we're seeing an object drop, G is not dealing with acceleration. It's dealing with speed. That's it. It's a measurement of speed. 9.8 meters per second squared. Anyway, I'll quit nerding out.
No, it's a good point you brought up. I mean, I would have hoped that he may have tried to engage a little longer. He does have a channel, and he has a friend that's on there from Greece. They're very religious, but they seem really cool about the common ground of knowing, the problems with evolution. But then they go back into an extremely, extremely religious outlook, where what kind of brings up a big red flag is when they say the King James version is the word, that's it, the final.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, okay, so there's nothing else, none of these other books. It's only this, right? And where it
Yeah.
came from, all of the stuff that could have been mistranslated, you don't want to know about that. I wanted to get into asking him about a few things, but I think he's too new. He might be like maybe a year, into it, maybe, if that. Or he said he lived on Hoven's farm for a couple of months and worked there.
Yikes.
Yeah, so something probably happened. He decided to just say, hey, you know what? I'm going there. And yeah, it's that old, the opportunity. A friend of mine, he wasn't really like, you couldn't say he was mentally handicapped, but he wasn't on the level like of just regular people. He was just like that, trying to think of maybe a character that, he, I don't want to say simple minded, but like he actually thought a stripper liked him, because he used to do construction and he used to go to the stripper thing. And I used to tell him, why are you even going there? And he goes, this girl likes him. And, sometimes the way he talked, it was almost like he was like in like a semi childlike state of mind. And he's a full grown guy, right? And, the girl that he liked, I guess he would go there a lot after work. And he told me they had, I put two and two together. I think they made up a story saying that she drowned because she must have just been leading him on, like, yeah, we're going to go out, just keep, putting dollars on the stage or something. And eventually he told me, and he's telling me like, oh yeah, she drowned. And I know, like, I'm thinking to myself, like, she didn't drown. They're just saying that to get you to stop going there, because now you probably got to the point where it seems kind of creepy. You think this girl really likes you. You're not seeing that this is a stripper on stage and this is what they do for a living. And some people, it's really sad because they're like a second or two behind just the normal average everyday flow, and they're good people. They just don't know. They just, and they can be manipulated very easily. And I've noticed that a lot of religious institutions have people like this. It's not saying that they're bad people. It's saying that, wow, maybe we have some type of thing that has to be done, because we see things that not only other people don't see, but we are smart enough to see why they don't see it, and can even predict just by what a person says or how they act in a conversation whether or not they will see something. To say, I've noticed when you, like, a person could be awake to a lot of stuff, like they could understand evolution is not feasible, all of this stuff, the conspiracies, but when you get into something like the ones that are really not able to let go and say, you know what, everything that I've been taught about outer space could be wrong.
Yeah.
It's very hard for them to get off that, to say, not saying that, when he brought up the flat earth thing, I was like, wow, that's like a typical response. I noticed, like a defense mechanism that people use. Like, they'll be like, oh, soon you're going to tell me gravity isn't real and flat earth. And I'm like, I never said anything about that. And I get that just from talking about evolution. They'll bring and they'll say, oh, so you don't believe in evolution. So do you believe in gravity? Matter of fact, Vegan Gains, I went on Gnosis's stream and he was on there a couple of months ago, and he brought that up and he started calling me an F-tard. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't think of it at the time, but the chick he married, they have videos of it on YouTube, and it's brutal. But I didn't think of the time, yeah. I mean, it's definitely brutal. And but he's like got a lot of mental stuff going on. I've noticed that when he acted the way he acted on that stream. Because I try to tell him, look, can you give me an example of evolution? And he broke out the whalebone thing. And I'm like, well, that's not really proof of something turning into something else, And he just immediately jumped into, so, do you believe in gravity? And once they bring that up, and I'm like, we weren't even talking about gravity. We were talking about skeletal structure of whales. And you jump to that. So I have to be smart enough to realize this person is just not on the level of someone you can really have a conversation with. And that's a hard thing, because there's so many people like that, to where we want to have a conversation, but there's less and less people to talk to, because they'll react like, how this guy reacted. It's like, you think about the reaction, it's like, okay, man, he didn't really pressure you that much. But let's just say he did. Why can't you deal with that? You can't deal with somebody pressuring you in a conversation and learn how to, kind of just deal with it. Now,
yeah, and we would have moved on, honestly, because like even that first spat, right? I've done this so many times. I've had the pole mix so many times that I know when it's time to move on. Like
Mhm.
when I on that first point with the gravity and the pulling thing, I'm like, okay, man, we agree to disagree. Continue.
Yeah.
Let's go on with your point or whatever, right? So like it wouldn't have lasted forever. Like
Yeah.
and I think he should have understood that from that first engagement. Like, okay, we spent about 2-3 minutes on it. Let's go to the next point. At worst, we would have did the same thing. 2-3 minutes on that one, and okay, continue. Let's go. Let's grind.
Yeah.
I don't
I
think
think,
he's about grinding. I think you're right. It's more about preaching
yeah.
the echo chamber thing.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's
Yeah.
true.
He wanted to push his points, and I kind of sense that. It's just like, okay, so you don't, once you break down, when somebody is, especially I notice with the moon mission and satellites, once that is questioned, a person like they get a, it's like a robot with a glitch, like they can't function. It's like, wait a second. Yeah, the whole moon thing, because when I'm like, wait a second, so you're telling me you think they went to the moon the first time, and then now with this Artemis thing, uh, I just don't get it. It's like, so you want us to pretend now that NASA, what they're telling us is the truth.
Hmm.
I think I like hinted to the destruction of the tapes without saying the destruction of the tapes, saying that if you don't
Yeah.
have the evidence, then that's destruction of evidence. It's kind of like saying, okay, so I paid you $4 billion to film the moon mission, and you don't have the tapes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Not only that, right? Like they keep everything else. They got the lunar lander, they got the astronaut suits and all that shit, right? All the
Well,
super.
remember, they were hurting for money. That's why they had to reuse it to record like some infomercial or something.
so what's one says they recorded, the other says they destroyed it. So it's either destroyed or re-record. So
Yeah.
It's not even the film though. The telemetry data, the stuff that's really important. Not
yes,
just the film,
Mhm.
but like the
Yeah.
actual damn data
Yeah.
that we need to make further future advancement in space
Mhm.
travel. They're like, we don't have that anymore. Oh, okay.
Well, the janitor
Cool.
threw it out by accident.
and the
Yeah,
fact that people don't care, that's another big red flag. The fact that when they
Huge
say,
red flag.
yeah, we don't have, and they're like, all right, when's the next mission? That's the crazy.
Yeah, basically.
I can't even believe it. It
Yeah.
boggles the mind. When's the
That
next mission?
point should rock the person, but instead they like poo-poo it away and they're like, well, like Mr. X said, they had an infomercial to shoot, man. When's the next
Yeah,
when's the
they're
next
like, why,
mission?
yeah. If you question it, why you interrupting me? It's like, wait a minute, you're over here telling me that people went to the moon, and that when I ask questions, now there's a problem. It's like, wait, where's the tapes? Why aren't, and that's when it dawns on me. I'm like saying, well, wait a minute, why isn't this person asking questions? And then I realize, oh, it's because I'm talking to an idiot. What am I doing? Again, I'm just, and that's so important to try to figure out, because you realize, you say, man, I wasted all that time again for what? Trying to talk to somebody that I shouldn't have even been talking to. And it's great that the guy came on the stream, and he,
Yeah.
it's rare though to have, the dune buggy on the moon. I mean, just the fact that
Or the golf club. That was hilarious.
one
Golf
person,
club, that's wild.
Yeah.
I told him about the golf club, and I think he responded with, well, they only took, one golf ball, and I'm just like, bro, every inch, every centimeter, if you're going on a mission like that, if it's real, is going to be for scientific
Yeah.
equipment, and you don't have space to bring a golf ball. I said, what are you, crazy? And
Well,
then
you'd be carrying that stuff.
Yeah,
You've
well-
been on the freaking moon in the 60s, mind you, not today, but in the
Yep.
60s.
that
And
was
the first thing you want to do is play golf. Come on.
that was the slap in the face.
It was. I was
Man.
about to say that. You took the
That
words out.
reminds me of something interesting. This man, there was back in the heyday, right? This was like 2013 or something, 2012, when YouTube was peak. And there was this video where this guy had compiled all these different videos of NASA doing their like educational segments. You know how they in the ISS they'll have a little segment where a kid calls in and they have something like some ball pit balls or whatever, or they'll have like a monkey suit or like some stuffed animals or a beach ball or whatever, right? Well, he took all these videos and like compiled all the different items they had on the ISS, and then he took the surface area, like the volume of the ISS, and then the various sizes of these objects. This guy went that far with it. He spurged, right? And it came out to where you couldn't fit all these objects in the ISS. And he ended up like people ended up making a big deal about that for a year or two. And I think it was Scott Kelly. You can anybody watching, they can go find this, I think, like somewhere else, not on YouTube. But like they said, yeah, we have these shuttles. They come up to the ISS and they deliver materials, and then we send materials back. So you're telling me they're sending you guys monkey suits and beach balls and shit? That's crazy. It's wild.
Yeah, it's really, whenever the moon mission, that's a big one. People that believe in that, it's like a religion. It might even be stronger. I mean, they really get to a point where they get emotional.
It's the new religion. People talk about the new age or whatever, but they don't even know it's crept up on them. It's the scientism. Like, I'm not favoring religion over it. I think you can throw them all in the same basket. I think they all are a product of blind faith. I'm trying to be specific here because I want to coincide with Mr. X's definition of faith. There's like this good faith, and then there's this blind faith, which is absolutely detrimental to the individual. If he's just going around just believing whatever he's told, that's dangerous, man. If somebody says jump off a cliff, it's healthy for you. You know, that's not okay to have faith in.
Oh, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
And the guy we had on was cool, really cool guy, William Armand Sosa, a couple of like last month. And he, you know, very deep theories about the universe. But I noticed once he started getting into the satellite stuff, and I didn't say nothing when he was like, well, you know, Pioneer 10, you know, tells us this or sent back pictures. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't know if I believe what they're telling me about these Pioneer satellites that they say they sent out, you know, into the solar system and beyond, actually.
That's a real Neo attitude. I think that's the Neo attitude is what we should adopt, right? Questioning reality, I think is healthy.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, and some people, like, that is a touchy subject. Like, when I see the response, how they're like, no, they definitely have to have these satellites, like, you know, these things are real and they sent back these pictures. And I'm like, well, how do we really know? You know, I'm like, remember, we're taking the word from this person that they sent this machine out, and it took these photographs and sent them back through radio waves. Okay,
that's my problem. That's my problem, is the trusting somebody, right?
Yes, exactly. Just trust them like that. And that's the one thing. But the other thing is questioning it and watching the person's response. Like, how dare you? Like, are you out of your mind? It's like they can't even comprehend that we question it. And it's like, wait, so you're telling me you think this is 100% real, that they, you know, that they couldn't be lying, you know? And it's like, wow, it's like, what brought this up? The way you're just like all of a sudden just believing anything they're telling you. And when they show these, it's like a soap opera. Again, another type of soap opera, when everybody's in the so-called control center and they all have their headphones on and they're all watching the yeah. And it's like, what, the India one was the best. When you see everybody at the India one and they're all like looking at the you know, the screen, and there's this one guy that you could see, he knows, and he's like, yeah, something ain't right here. This does not seem like they actually did it. And everybody else is like celebrating. And then see, the picture was like, it looked like CGI of the.
Absolutely, it's like PlayStation 1. No, it's like Nintendo 64 level quality. And then you got them celebrating like somebody just hit a hole in one on a 500-yard hole or something. They're like, oh yeah. They're like screaming and high-fiving and stuff. Like, even if it was real, I don't think it's the overacting thing. I think overacting is very damning. Like, even if it was real, I don't think people would be like doing cartwheels and jumping and throwing their chairs and like slapping each other and shit. Like, I don't think, like, it might be a little too much, man. You oversold it.
Yeah, they really it got to a point where I was just like, man, I cannot believe this. I just these people they Russia did it. Who was it? Russia, um China, Israel, India, and I'm thinking there might be even another country. And it was just all crap. It was like you got to be kidding me. It's like you really think that they are that they went.
That's what blows my mind. What that point you just made just now, you really think, right? Like these people are so disconnected that they don't understand that the normie has the ability to distinguish like falsity when looking at CGI or looking at a video game or whatever. They don't have the ability to distinguish that in reality or distinguish it from reality. That's highly disconnected, man. And that kind of gives me hope. It makes me think that they're unaware of our ability to change or revolutionize the system. Right? They think they're so in control that they can show us a Nintendo 64 video of a moon landing and think it's real, right? Or the other option would be like they know, right? They know we don't, and they're trying to trigger us to awaken. There's only a couple options of what's going on because it's so apparently fake, blatantly fake.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I don't see a middle ground to that. It's either they're clueless.
Yeah, yeah. This is the dude, man. His face, like I circled it and then I enlarged it. You look at his face. Everybody else is clapping. They're like, "Hey, we went to the moon," and his face is just like, "I can't believe it. I can't believe these people are actually saying that this is real."
Oh, that's good shit.
Well, hostile, you're familiar with the pagan religions. Isn't that a lot of planet worship going on?
No, not in the idea that it's terra firma.
Well,
It's
that
not
they
terra
give the names to the solar systems like Saturn.
They think they're living beings. They think they're actually living entities that exist in a reality that has
So what I'm
flora
saying
and
isn't
fauna.
NASA part of their religion? That's why they have to fake these. So there's worship of these terrestrial spaces. The galaxies and the planets and so forth.
Oh, I think I see what you're saying. You're saying because NASA incorporates pagan ideology, or at least the names.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a gross. What I think is going on is that the traders understand the reality of it, but they package it into a falsity and give it to the masses. So they know the reality of the occultism, but then they were given all the literature, the occult literature that would tell us otherwise to fit into the physicalism or the materialism or into the scientism paradigm. They don't want to actually awaken people. They want to
it's like our holidays, Christmas, Halloween, and so forth. It's all pagan, but they want us to worship they want us to be a part of their religion without knowing it. Like worship.
Yeah, but I even think they drip feed or they show that they obviously they do it and they know that there's another level. I think it's like a double blind or like a what's another way to put it? Like a firewall. There's like the absolute fake, which is like the Christmas. And then there's this, oh, well, there's a pagan origin to Christmas, right? Oh, well, they're doing it in this fashion. I would say that even that layer is fake as a sort of protection. And then there's this real thing, which is none of it is terra firma. They're actually living beings. There's levels to existence, planes of existence. Like I think they know that, but they're not giving that to you. They need to have this false occult paradigm so that if you do break from the physical, you're still trapped. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, I see where you're going with that. Like especially look at Halloween. I think that's the most blood sacrifice holiday there is in the pagan. It's Samhain,
exactly. Yeah.
But they have kids dressing up as Halloween costumes. Obviously, they want them to be look at it as something else. Obviously,
They do, exactly. But even when you get behind that, they'll say that, okay, well, now the occult level is self-aggrandizement. They'll say it's like Satanism, that you get power from it, right? That it's for the individual. But the real truth is the traitorists are working as a collective. It's actually appealing to gods, spirits that actually exist, that they're
Yes.
giving these, what do you want to say? These, not sacrifices. There's another word for that. Tributes. They're paying tribute or homage to the spirits that actually exist on different planes of existence that have their own individuality. So they're like communicating with beings that can transcend typical space-time wisdom or knowledge. They give them information, technological information, philosophical information. It goes very deep, but I would say that there's like a double blind. That's my explanation for it. Same
Sure, it
thing
just
goes.
seems like they tell these people get the masses also to worship me in one way or the other.
Yeah, they say they know that people will wake up. That's why they have this firewall or this defense system. They know that people will go, okay, this isn't right. What's the real thing? And then when they scratch through that layer, they'll get to this next layer, which is also false in reality, but they think it's the real thing because they've transcended that first layer. They're like, oh, well, this must be the
like
thing.
Freemasonry.
Exactly like Freemasonry. As a Freemason, it is exactly like Freemasonry.
That's the best example of the structure, how it's implemented. There's always, you're always learning something new.
Yeah, Rosicrucianism, Masonry, Theosophical Society. There are multiple organizations that have this double blind where the elite of those orders are actually given this true occult knowledge, but
Yes.
the peons, there's this 3-degree system. I'm sure you're familiar with it. There's the entered apprentice, fellow craft, and master mason. Well, the entered apprentice, when he becomes a master mason, he doesn't really realize it, but he's still essentially an entered apprentice. There are these guys who are true master masons that he is unaware of.
Yeah, and they'll tell him once he gets to a certain level, whatever you learned before, forget all that. It doesn't mean anything. It's like they'll start all over again.
Man, you know what's crazy? I don't want to deviate, but I have, as a Freemason and a past master of my Blue Lodge, 32nd degree Scottish Rite Mason, and a Knight Templar, I have all this experience within the orders. It's actually worse than that because they don't tell them that. That comes from Albert Pike. Albert Pike disclosed that in his work Morals and Dogma. But people in Masonry, 90% of them aren't ritualists and they aren't students of Masonry. So they're not reading the literature. When they go through the degrees, they think they're the top of the world. Like these guys are like, okay, yeah, I'm not profane anymore or whatever. When really they're just as profane as any Joe Schmo off the street,
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, so you were in it. So you know all about it.
Absolutely. I'm still a Freemason. I'm an active Freemason. This isn't, but I know and I can acknowledge, right? This is the thing that's paradoxical with me, that Freemasonry, the doctrine is wrong. The doctrine that I've been propounding since I've been on this show, my cosmology, is anti-Masonic. It's anti-religious. It's anti-scientism. It transcends all that. So I don't really fall into the doctrine of Freemasonry. It's what I get out of Freemasonry as far as the social that I really enjoy. It's the camaraderie. It's the human level of Freemasonry that I really enjoy. Meeting men that have their head on their shoulders, who really want to pursue a moral life, an honorable life. They're actually everywhere in Masonry. The lower levels of Masonry are actually just good guys. It's the higher levels. When you start to get into the higher levels, there's this potential, this increased potential for people to abuse their titles and their networks. They abuse
just like the Catholic Church, same thing.
Absolutely. Any religion, take Orthodox Christianity, Catholicism, Buddhism. You go to the pinnacle, you're going to find some weird ass shit. That's what's going to happen.
Same
Yeah.
with politics. That's the island. So
Yeah, that's the way of the world. That's why I love that Max and you, even though we have different views, you still understand that this is not the real thing, right? Well, I don't know what you call it. I don't know if you call it like Prison Planet or a simulation, but this isn't the real thing. When you get to the height of this thing, it's a shithole. It's bad. It's not what moral people want to pursue.
oh no, it's a major shithole. Take it from me. So,
Yeah. As an
Madison wants-
honorable person, an individual with a heightened sense of morality, and just wanting to be good. Yeah, the world is not it. That's not this can't be the place for the good guy.
no.
A. Patterson wants to know: does Freemasonry believe in evolution?
No, they believe in a creator.
Okay. And Jen says paying Mason dues. So do you have to pay dues for the Masonry?
Typically, yeah, that's how it works. But there are like incentives. For instance, each lodge has their own ability to create incentives or motives for members to, for instance, like learn the language.
Mhm.
If you in the footwork, like the ritual, if you learn it, or if you become a past master, get a C card or a B card or an A card, you can get like lifetime memberships, but there are dues. You do have to pay, just like any organization. Rotary Club.
Are they
Uh,
expensive or like what is it?
No, the
Right?
masonry is dying, so it's not expensive. It's like $80 a year or something like that.
Oh
Typically.
wow, that's cheap. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not like based on your pay and all of that. It's just
No. Well, I will say it is exclusive to each lodge, but typically a blue lodge or which falls under regular masonry. That there are constitutions, codes, bylaws, regulations, edicts that fall under a category we call regular masonry. This is they are chartered by the Grand Lodge of England, but there are lodges that are considered clandestine. They operate on their own. They don't have a charter from the Grand Lodge. So they're kind of like, it's like the Wild West, and guys are just taking, if they know the language and the ritual, they can start their own lodge and they don't necessarily need a charter. These guys can charge thousands of dollars. Prince Hall Masonry, the Black Freemasonry, I've heard where I'm from, they charge $1,000 a year for their memberships, which is wild to me. I don't understand why that's happening or why they're doing that, but
wow. That's
yeah, it
how many
happens.
members do you think they have?
Masonry in general,
No, the one that charges the $1,000.
it would have to be a low amount in my mind, right? Because who can afford that?
Yeah.
Or it's comprised of an elite, people who have really good jobs,
Yes.
CEOs, bosses.
Yep.
Yeah. Because 100 members, that's 100 grand for the year. So
Yeah, 100 members is crazy. A typical lodge night for, at a good running lodge in America, you get 15, 20 guys who show up to a lodge meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's really different levels to this. There's some for the general public, all the way to the top elites that only certain people are invited to. That's what it sounds like.
It just depends on the lodge. Like, so there's I'll try to explain the structure real quick, simply. There are, so the mother lodge, the Supreme Lodge is in England. That's who the ultimate charter comes from. The charter gives you the right to operate as a regular lodge. Okay.
Mhm.
That's the language that they use. It's like a form of legal language or whatever. Well, in America, when we get that charter, there's a Grand Lodge for every state. So there are 50 Grand Lodges. And these Grand Lodges oversee all the local lodges in the state. Those local lodges are called blue lodges. Now,
I heard
these
about that
blue
blue and
lodges-
red, right?
Well, red really
That's
isn't a
Scottish.
thing. Well, York right?
Yeah.
Is what
Yeah.
that is. But it's just like slang. It's not really recognized. They call it
I'm
red.
just saying, look at the Democratic and Republican Party, blue and red. It's got to be tied into that, I'm sure.
Well, there isn't really a red lodge. It's they use that as like slang because there are red regalia, like aprons and
Mhm.
things like that in the degrees. Blue Lodge has nothing to do with any actual like color that you're wearing or anything like that. It's actually language in the Constitution and bylaws. So it's like a legal thing, but there is no mention of a Red Lodge. Red Lodge is like slang. So
Okay.
this may seem confusing, but within Masonry, it would make a lot of sense. But the Blue Lodges, they can do what they want. They get a charter from the Grand Lodge. The Grand Lodge issues the charter and says, okay, you can perform the work. The work is the ritual, meaning you can memorize the language and the footwork. You cannot read from a book when you're opening a. Let me back up. Okay. In Masonry, memorization is highly important because you cannot use books or like the flashcards. You have to remember the way that they do things, which has been this continuous tradition for like at least 300 years. 1717, the Grand Lodge is founded in England, and this language has almost been retained since then. We'll say 200 to be fair, 250 to be fair. So this language, if you can produce it and you have 7 members who can actually open and close a lodge and confer all 3 degrees, you can get a charter. Once you get that charter, you can start issuing, you can accept petitions for members. Now, that lodge can charge whatever dues they want. There's no language in the laws in the Constitution that says the dues have to be this much. So like if I live in Los Angeles, California, and I'm in Hollywood or something like that, and I live around a bunch of millionaires, if I have a lodge in the smack dab in the middle of a bunch of millionaires, I could charge $5,000 a year for my dues.
Wow.
But like I have to gauge this. If I'm a lodge in Podunkville, Nebraska, or Montana or whatever, I'm probably need to lower my dues or I'm gonna have no members. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, wow.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing, man. It's a wild thing. But in short, the Masons believe in a creator. So my cosmology does not align with Masonic cosmology.
Yeah, I just think it's relevant because it's in so much in our dollar bills. It's everywhere. All the symbology of the masonry is everywhere.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, Masons are pretty prevalent within culture or civilization for the past 250 years.
Now, what about the obelisk? What does that signify in masonry specifically?
It really doesn't. Even the dollar bill really doesn't. Yeah, even the dollar bill really doesn't have much to do with masonry. So there are researchers within masonry who romanticize. They want to try to reach back and say that masonry is an Egyptian thing, or that masonry is a Grecian thing, or that masonry is a Mesopotamian thing. We don't know that. That's all just like conjecture and theory. What we do know is that we have like language from our actual degrees going back to like 1300. But it doesn't formulate into an actual organization until 1717. So the obelisk really doesn't have much to do with it. There's no mention of Egypt in the degrees. Well, let me back up. In regular masonry, which is the Blue Lodge, which is the first 3 degrees, Scottish Rite, which is the 32 degrees, and Knights Templar, which is 4, 3, 3, 7, 10 extra degrees. These degrees mention nothing about Egypt unless it has a biblical context, because they're only using the Bible. They use the Bible for everything. The Old Testament and the New Testament combined. So like the first 3 degrees is all Old Testament. Scottish Rite will incorporate some of the New Testament. York Rite is like a Christian thing. It heavily incorporates the New Testament. There's something in the York Rite called the Commandery. The Commandery asks the initiate to admit to the Christian faith. He has to say, You know, he has to oblige and say that I am a Christian. You know, so that's the only part of Masonry that I've encountered that actually asks you to be a certain faith or religion. The other ones are like secular. They don't really care. You can be a Jew, whatever, Buddhist, Vedist, it doesn't matter, Hindu.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very interesting.
Yeah, that is wow. Um, King Solomon. Yeah. It's yeah, man, this has been good, man. It's been deep. I was hoping, yeah, hopefully that guy would have the comfort zone. This is yeah, this is like a
Yeah, me too, man. I apologize if I ran him off,
no,
man.
no, I think it's a good thing because it lets us know. I mean, he's religious. He's just it shows it was a good things happen the way they're going to happen, and I think it was a good teaching thing to show like, okay, this is shows what happens when somebody gets triggered off of something that isn't even that harsh of a trigger. It was very light. So I could imagine if it was something heavier. Uh, he seems like he's kind of fragile. I hope he, recovers. And yeah, yeah. I mean, it
Yeah,
just,
the rage quit was kind of wild. I thought he was at least going to let me shut up, but like he just left real quick.
yeah, yeah. They just, a lot of people, they're used to, I guess, one would be having it their way, and another would be uh, not able to deal with a confrontation or if you're in that type of situation, adapt. And it's easy for me to say that, but people could say, okay, if the person is not letting you speak and you just stay quiet, now that's a tactic, so because now the person, if say they just keep going on, they're going to start to realize like, oh wow, I'm just talking. Now, if it's a time limited thing, something has to be come in. When he mentioned something in the chat about not being moderated well, when he brought up the flat earth comment, it just showed me a lot more of where he was at, you know. And A. Patterson's right. Some people can't handle the truth. There's some people can't handle any type of criticism, even if the criticism is wrong. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
it's a good
yeah,
point.
yeah.
Like, who knows if I'm
So
right, right? Like,
yeah.
from his perspective, who gives a shit about what I'm saying? Like, just engage with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's and I would tell him like, hey, okay, maybe let's just say that I'm wrong and we did go to the moon, which it doesn't seem that way, but let's just say that that could be a possibility, right? You're very strong in your conviction that we went there, or whatever. Whatever I say, if it bothers you, what it tells me without telling me directly is that you're not strong in your conviction that we went to.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, these things are very important for people to see, and then they can grow from that and say, oh, I don't even have to ask. And it's like, yeah, you don't, but if you were to ask, you're never going to get the truth. So these are the only way to realize, because this person will tell you, no, I'm definitely strong in my conviction, I'm definite we went. Well, then why are you acting in that manner when somebody questions you? Why are you getting so fragile? The only reason you would get that fragile is you're not strong in your conviction or your belief in what you're telling me. Because
The
if
evolutionists.
yeah, very close. It's like it's somebody saying, no, 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 you can breathe underwater. It's like, all right, great. Hey, believe what you want to believe, no problem. And to know that the conversation is not going to go further there, and this person might just be looking for attention. And a lot of these people do. They just want attention. When we saw it. The good example was when the mark of the beast came up. It's sort of like, you got to be kidding me. It's sort of like it
Yeah.
really, yeah, it really showed me like, wow, you must have been going through something, and this is where you found your faith,
Hmm.
and now you're not even aware enough to see that uh we might have already seen or heard about this decades ago. Like
That's
this is
weird because that topic specifically is so popular. It's so
I know it
weird.
is. And
Like
and
you don't even have
I'm
to
a
be
very thin,
religious.
yeah, I'm a very believer. Let's just put it that way. I'm a very strong believer. But you know what? They always want to go for the juicy stuff like Revelation, the rapture, and they don't want to go for the mundane stuff or what they would think is mundane, is just helping other people out. They don't want to deal with that. They want to go into the the hardcore stuff and the exciting things, and
Yeah.
that tells me a lot. That tells me a lot about the person.
Well, I will be fair, like to side with him a bit, right? He's seeing symptomology from our culture, specifically
Mhm.
things like AI, right? These things that are
Sure.
very mysterious and unknown and imply uh not necessarily imply, but they correspond with verses, you know? That's the
Mhm.
thing, right? For the past 200, 300, 400 years, I mean, even longer than that, revelation has been a thing, right? It's happening now, guys. Don't you see?
Yeah, it's yeah.
So, like,
Nobody
always,
knows when it's going to happen. Nobody
yeah,
knows when it's going to happen.
the
That's a
Chicken Little
joke.
syndrome. I'm glad that he brought that up because Chicken Little syndrome is definitely a good uh, uh, analogy for what's going on
Yeah,
with the religious and when they read certain texts like
yeah. They
Revelation
just
or
they want
Job
to
or
run to Revelation into the and say this is the end. The end is coming near. It's like wait, time out, man. You don't know when the end is coming. That's
yeah,
not your place. Got to
yeah.
accept it. But they don't want to accept it. It's
And not to deviate, if you actually like look into Jewish, like if you actually dig into this stuff seriously, like
Mhm,
Kabbalism, Gnosticism, the Christian mysticism, you'll realize that this stuff has already kind of been figured out. Like we've
mhm,
went much further than trying to place like AI as like the correspondence to Revelation. Like
mhm.
I don't know. There's a whole camp that believes that Revelation, what John was speaking about, was already fulfilled. So like I
Oh, I've
don't.
heard of that. Yeah, I've heard
Yeah,
that.
and there's a bunch of gematria and Notarikon in there in Tamora. There's a lot of Jewish mystical science, art/science involved with the writing of Revelation. So like there's this whole aspect that most normie Christians or
Mhm.
just like American fundamentalist Christians, they don't even know. I've asked guys if they know what Kabbalah is and they have no clue. They're like, "What is that?" Like, how are you even like why are you preaching to me if you haven't even studied Jewish mysticism? That's crazy. That's wild because that's like at the heart of all this stuff. Like the numbers, right? Like 666 being mentioned, and you don't know what gematria is? That's wild to me. Like these guys won't even mention what the number could imply. They just see the number and see it as number bad. That's weird.
Sure.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah.
My point is, though, in short, not to make fun of the guy, right? My point is that sometimes we're ill informed or we're new to a subject that Max is saying that might be the case, that we need to just learn to like kind of ruminate and sit back on information and
Mhm.
really get personal with it, really develop a relationship with the wisdom, with the knowledge, with the information, so that
Mhm.
when you do present it, you don't have these moments where you just run away real quick. I
I
have a
mean,
feeling that
I
Max is
know the
right.
answer to the end of the world. I know when exactly it's going to happen. When you die, that's when you're done with the world and all this other stuff. You won't
Yeah,
be thinking about it anymore.
the, the fact that he fled like that, I think Max is right. His assessment contributes to that. Like, if he
Mhm.
was sure, if he was certain about his cosmology, he would want to hang around and propound it.
Sure.
He would want to show it. He'd want to say, "Hey, man, great question. Calm down, hostile. Calm down, Hyperborean. I understand where you're coming from.
Mhm.
This is why. This is my response, right?" But instead, it's like, "Oh man, I'm not sure of myself. I don't know how to act in this moment. I've never been pressed like this. Flee."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was new. I think he's the friend he has that's on the show is very this is the way, the King James version, and they were eye to eye on the evolution, very much so. But again, they just went right into the, have you seen the series, and Kent Hovind, and I'm like, hey,
Oof.
yeah, science.
Kent Hovind is a red flag, and Sola Scriptura is a red flag. Like those two things combined is even more of a red flag.
Who's the other one? Solus what?
When you say the Bible is the word, right? Sola Scriptura. Like,
yes, yeah.
yeah, no, bro. Like,
yeah, and the specific version, I'm just like, well, wait a second. That version seems to be made for a specific king and a follower, so it would most likely have some things twisted in the favor of serving the king, which may not have been in there in the
it's
original.
riddled with Rosicrucian symbology, which is the predecessor to Freemasonry. So it's like a cipher or a cryptogram or something. There's even words and letters placed in specific areas and numbers placed in page numbers mean a thing. Like there's no true Bible, right? Like this is I I I get it. People are faithful. Like I understand that, but like to say that one version of the Bible is the right version is like playing the telephone game and trying to figure out what the original message is thousands of years ago. It's like it's impossible. You'll never get there. The best you can do is go, okay, I have these words, let me try to interpret it. And what's funny is that's what happens. We have all these interpreters that formulate denominations, and we have 100 different denominations.
Yes.
So like to say that one version of the Bible is right is just you're picking a bad position, man. It's like the losing position, and you're like willing to die on that hill. It's not a smart thing to do.
Well, hey guys, I got to take care of something right now at work. But hey, good seeing you, Hyper, and great job, MD.
Yeah,
and I look forward to the next one.
Yeah, no, it's been a good show, man. We definitely had appreciate you having you here.
Yeah, take it easy, X.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Always got some deep stuff. Yeah, that guy popped out of the blue. It was I went on their show I would say a couple of days ago. And they were cool. They had another guy on there that he was, what was weird was the other guy, the Greek guy that he's friends with, I don't think he's on the moon mission thing, because I did mention something. They had a guest on there and that guy left. He didn't rage quit per se, but he left kind of quickly because I guess they were debating with him about certain science stuff, and then they would of course go into their religion and why their religion is the truth, and that leaves very little room for conversation at that point. It's like saying, okay, we can talk about things with evolution and what might or might not be properly scientifically documented, but once we get into for sure how we got here, and your book is no flaws in it, it's telling us the exact thing. Now it's seeing something like that, it really is like a transformation from a monster movie. The person is changing and contorting and mentally forming into someone who can't be questioned, and the belief gets thick at that point. But yeah, he's hopefully maybe he'll come back around on another day. I went on Zachary Hubbard's channel. I think it's numbers the numbers game.
I'm familiar. Yeah,
he really cool guy, man. He came over, was in the chat yesterday. This girl Allie came on. She was from his stream. Really cool person. A few other people. Yeah, it was that it seemed really cool. So hopefully I'll check him out if he's live sometime again. Just see if I can hop on or I told him he's welcome to come on the stream too. I was really glad he came in the chat, said what's up. Yeah, man, yeah. But yeah, this guy, I guess, the dangers of the comfort zone. It showed itself. It showed that that's one of the dangers, not being able to grow, not being able to, and I'm not expecting him to leave that religion. That's not the goal, because I doubt very much. If anything, he's just going to get stronger in the belief of that. But to not see it, this is where I see that we have an intelligence that allows us to see it and realize that not only can we see it, but we can also see how that person is clueless to the fact. So now we're even on a higher level, which is like gives a type of responsibility to say, like, man, this person really can't even think for themselves. They've fallen into this trap, but in a way, is that what they need? Because if I showing them the truth might actually prove to be dangerous. It might prove to be like how Cypher was shown the truth in the Matrix, which we saw the detriment of that. We saw that it's like the good part of that is to show that not everybody you wake up is going to help you. They can turn out to be somebody that destroys it. So be careful. Be very, very careful. And to watch them. That was the thing with that part in the Animatrix that was great, where I guess they made that to show, like, look, if this test would have been something to test Cypher with, it could have prevented the stuff that happened. Yeah.
And that happens, that it's funny because that happens like chronologically, that's before Neo and Cypher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, damn, if anybody who's watching has never seen Animatrix, you have to watch that. That movie, it's a series of short films that it's just beyond fire. Like, you got to watch that.
Yeah. The Animatrix is definitely something to watch. That is the 9 great stories it has in it. Actually, I think the last one was made by the animator who animated Aeon Flux.
Yes, that show is fire too. If you've never seen Aeon Flux, gotta watch that shit.
Oh yeah, definitely. Peter Chung.
He did the one where they're trying to convert the robot.
Yes.
Into a good robot. Yeah, that clip is crazy. They basically like put him through an initiation. They put him through a whole different, like a sequence of initiations. Pretty cool scene.
Yeah, I think it was called Matriculated.
Yeah, Matriculated. Yeah. It's such a good word for it. Yeah, so funny.
That one. They had the first CGI one. The second Renaissance was the next 2. So
that's the one that everyone gets really hooked on. The second Renaissance. If you're not going to watch the whole film, at least watch the second Renaissance, because that will give you the background to Matrix.
Yes,
the movies.
Definitely. Yeah, it's 2 parts. The second and the third parts, because there's 9, parts to Animatrix, which I like the way that they use the different artists, kind of like the way Heavy Metal did it with 6, 7 different artists to make those different scenes. The Animatrix had, the same artist did the second Renaissance part 2 and 3, and the CGI one on the ship was I guess computer artist. The fourth one, I don't exactly remember. I know the fifth, I think it might have been like the 7th one was the one with the girl with the samurai. 6th or 7th, and then it had a dude who was an athlete in the pod.
That one is so good, dude. Yeah. I love that one so much.
Yeah, really, Animatrix was an amazing film.
I like that concept that there are people who are naturally inclined. They have a predisposition to break from it. Mm-hmm. Their spirit, even though on the other side they're plugged in a pod, it's their disposition that drives them towards breaking out of it naturally, like the athlete. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that one was so badass when they're like, sit down. And the man has like pulled muscles and hamstrings ripped and his Achilles is ripped. He like still gets out of that fucking chair and wants to run. It's so good, dude.
Yeah, yeah, that was a great film, man. To think, I think it came out in 2003. I'm not sure, maybe before.
Yeah. It was after the movies, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely after. And it's like, wow, over 20 years ago. And I look back at it saying, man, and there's been some pretty good uh anime that I didn't even know about, and I stumbled across. One was Scavenger's Reign.
I haven't
And
seen that.
yeah, that one actually went to Netflix, but there's a lot of clips on YouTube, and there might even be like very long 20-minute clips of it. And you know, it's a very odd story. They do have commentary that on YouTube lets us see a little more into it. Um, there was another one Scribe brought up. It was an 80s cartoon called Nausicaa, and she is like a girl who has a glider that it gets pretty deep. It's a Japanese animation, but it's about like an eco. It's like an eco animation type of thing to show how she eventually is saying, "Look, we have to get along with the forest, uh, to live in accordance with it." And I was surprised when he brought that up. A few people were given good suggestions for certain animations and stuff. So yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I got these both written down. Have you ever heard of Neon Genesis Evangelion?
No, what's that one?
Oh man, that one is absolutely fire. You have to watch that ASAP. Type it in on your tabs or whatever. Put it as a tab,
Yeah,
man.
I'm looking at it now. Yeah, with the
Yeah,
guy holding the girl. Wow, wow.
yeah. So it's basically about synopsis, real quick. I'm not going to give you everything, but in short, there's like a secret government that hides events from the world, and the events that are going on is there are angels, right? They found this text from the Dead Sea Scrolls that tells them this plan, and they've hidden it from the world. This like elite, and they know that these angels are coming to Earth to try to. They're telling certain people, right, within the elite that they're here to destroy, but there's like this council that knows exactly what's going on. They're hiding Adam, which is actually like this living being, like this monstrosity. It's like an alien life form, and they're keeping him underneath the surface of the earth. So these extraterrestrial beings, they're like UFOs, but they're actually living. Have you ever seen the movie Nope?
Yeah, I saw
Where
pieces. Yeah.
where the UFO is like an animal?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what this is like. There's like a series of angels that are named within the biblical texts and the Nag Hammadi and the Dead Sea Scrolls, and they name them when they come into the world. It's kind of like Godzilla, right? Like each one of these beings come in and there's a fight over the city in Japan. So they use these giant robot bodies to fight these angels to try to keep them from taking over Earth, is what the elite are saying. But these bodies are not robots. They think they are, right? They put these human beings in the back of the head of these robots, and these robots actually have a nervous system and a skeleton. So they plug into it, and they can only really work or operate through the will of an individual when they're plugged into it. But what these guys don't know is these pilots of these vehicles is that they're not just robots, they're actually real biological beings. They're like Nephilim or fallen angels. They've taken the DNA from angels and like made these entities to fight the angels. It's so crazy. If you're into Bible mythology and like angelology and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
the end, I will not spoil it, but the end is bonkers. It's crazy, bro. This show is wild.
I definitely got Neon Genesis Evangelion. Yeah,
Yes.
it's
Yeah. Put that on the list, bro.
yeah, definitely. Lasagna, what's up, bro? Good to see you. Hanging here with Hostile Hyperborean. If you're there, just whenever you're ready, just unmute. Yeah.
What's up, brothers? What's up, MD Hostile?
What's going on, man?
I like what you said, and I would agree the majority of what you said. You're speaking the truth, brother.
Are you talking to Max?
I'm talking to you.
Oh, about what specifically? If I can try to get on the same page
What you just said.
about Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yes.
So you've seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I believe it.
Oh yeah, no, it's bonkers. You need to watch it. It's crazy. What's wild is it's old. So this guy was into Kabbalah and stuff. Like you can see he uses like the Kabbalistic tree of life. There's these themes within the show, like underground cities,
Mhm.
essentially, kind of like a Shambhala or an Agartha. The elite of the world actually live underneath the surface of the earth, and they have these like pyramidal structures that they operate out of, and they serve purposes. They're not just like cool shapes. They're like machines or engines that feed these beings, these machines that they're working on that are actually biological. It's wild, dude. When I first heard about the show, I actually saw a clip of it. Like a guy was reviewing it on YouTube. I can't remember the name. The channel's called Max Derot or something like that. He like reviews video games and animes and tries to explain their occult significance.
Mhm.
So I saw it first on there and I was like, okay, I got to go find it. Couldn't find it anywhere. Maybe a year later, they put it on Netflix. So I had my opportunity and I binged the whole thing real quick. And all I can say is if you're into mysticism, occultism, but you want to understand how it applies to the world, this show is like a theory, like a grand unifying theory all in itself. And it's only one season, I think. I think it's like 10 episodes or 11 episodes. It doesn't take long. Maybe take you a week to get through it.
Wow. It says here that there was a backlash against the creator, that the intensity of fan anger because the TV ending was so intense that director, wow. How
I'll
do you
explain
actually,
this. So when I saw the clips from the YouTube commentator, I was expecting something so much more. When I watched the season, I was let down. I was like, wait a second, I didn't get to see the thing that I was shown in the commentary.
Mhm.
Well, it turns out that yeah, there was a backlash. There was like an anticlimactic ending to the season. So what he did was years later, they went back and they made a film. They just went through the whole movie. They like revised it, shortened all the scenes, had all the angels incorporated into it, but added this true complete ending to it. That is bonkers. So I'm glad you brought that up. The ending that I'm mentioning is not in the seasons. It's in the movie. So
Mm.
there are different things going on here.
All
And
right.
you'll
So
feel
you
that
have
way
a
too.
movie, and then you have a series. So it's
Yeah,
two
the
different.
series ends. Oh, it's bullshit. The series ends so weird. You're kind of like left like, what the fuck? You know,
What do
you're
you mean?
like, what? I needed the answers. You led me up to this whole thing about this conspiracy, and you didn't provide the answer. Then he came out with the movie, and they have this scene that's like that does answer it. It lasts about 30 minutes long, and it's absolutely mind blowing. If you've studied occultism, magic, religions, mysticism, mythology, it ties everything together in this weird event. And I'm talking about politics too. If you study geopolitics and you wonder if there may be this weird conspiracy behind geopolitics,
Mhm.
yeah, these guys, this would be the thing. They're like obsessed with it's like a death cult, but there's a reason that they want to die, that the elite want everyone to die. It's so weird.
So the movie is much better than the series.
Not really, because the movie is short. It shortens
Okay.
everything up. The series is fire, dude. There's a vibe to it. The way that they film it, there's this constant cicada So there's like, you know how cicadas come around every so often?
Mm-hmm.
Well, during this time in this fictional world, the cicadas are around and it's hot and it's summer and it's like, you've been there, man. Like when we were kids, if you grew up in the late 80s, 90s, you understand that cicada thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the film. It's constantly this droning silence and cicada mixture. And then they'll have dialogue. And then there's this event that happens. The angels come. So it's always like calming you down. There's this latent stress and agitation from the cicada and the hot summer. And then there's this event that climaxes. And then they repeat that for about 11 episodes. But the ending is the main problem. The ending is what leaves you like, what? Why? You're left with the question, why were the angels coming? Why did the government want to hide it? What do they know that the people don't know? That's what the movie answers. And they have this event. It's basically like a singularity or something. I'm saying too much.
Mm-hmm.
You'll just have to watch it. It'll blow you away.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely check it. I got it on the tab. Yeah, I'll probably check it tomorrow afternoon when I come back and yeah, man, this is.
Did you like Aeon Flux?
Oh yeah, Aeon Flux was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah, I first saw that on Liquid Television actually, back in the early '90s, and that's where Beavis and Butthead. I saw the first episode. Yeah, I was like, wow. But Aeon Flux was it was amazing, and I tell Scribe, I say, it taught me. Years later, I learned that a lot of people don't remember Aeon Flux. Only people that really like animation. But everybody remembers Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
It just showed me like, wow, as far as marketing and making money, the mediocre, it's more about the script. And that the Beavis and Butthead, it's a good lesson to say what you think might sell, because I like Aeon Flux and the flashy animation usually isn't what doesn't sell, which is shocking. I would think Aeon Flux would be much more well known than Beavis and Butthead, but
it was ahead of its time. Like Aeon Flux has so many far out wild concepts that it's pretty niche.
Yeah.
Like when they kiss and pass along the.
Oh yeah, that actually. There's some animation of that years before that. I forgot the film it was in, but if you look it up, you can find that like something very similar to that, very similar to where I was like, yeah, I think I see where they got the idea. I forgot the film's name though, but
do you remember the one where she's like, that's another thing is the episodes are disparate. They don't like connect fully. There's like an underlying theme. There's like this relationship between her and the main antagonist, but it's like never like like one day after the other. Yeah. Like time just passes and there's like this new thing going on. Mm-hmm. But there's this one where she's like chasing a criminal through like these rail cars. That's how it starts. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then like he gets to this. There's like this check-in station where people are like eating or something, but they're like slipped something in their food. I can't remember how it works specifically, but like she's met by a group, like a woman that says like, come with me. And she's shown this like underground society of women or something. That episode, the reason it's so crazy to me is it goes from like nothing to like this complex conspiracy within like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, I think that was called The Purge, that one.
Yeah, The Purge. They're like these skeletons. It's like a pill, but it like is an exoskeleton or that's inside of you that takes over your body or something.
Yeah.
That's so fucking crazy, dude. That show is so ahead of its time.
Yeah, Aeon Flux was it was amazing, man. I tell you, think about it. It's like, man. But yeah, man, it's definitely great having you come on tonight, man. It's Friday night. Not really much going on. I'm surprised.
Yeah, not really. Yeah.
Yeah. Fridays are like, you don't see, I guess maybe there's so much going on YouTube. It's just amazing that this is such a small, like micro spot on it. The amount, like you remember 2012 was that was the time,
That was
from like,
peak.
yeah, it was really, it started to, I think that's when they started to implement the changes, like 2012,
Yeah.
2013, because
2008, 2009, shit was getting crazy. You had like Michael Tessarian,
Yep.
you had all these like early truthers, and people were like going nuts. I remember like having friends where their dads were getting into the shit and like telling them, and then it was like the bug was spreading. And then
Mhm.
2012, yeah, it kind of got crazy. I understand. I don't agree with it, right? They're
Mm.
obviously the enemy, but I understand why they would want to control it.
Yeah, they
It was
changed. Yeah,
wildfire. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of stuff. I remember Tessarian, a few others. Yeah, they
What's
had
the other
the
guy? Jordan Maxwell.
yeah that they had a guy with the channel. He might still be around called Alien Scientists, and he had a channel back in like '09. Uh, yeah, it had. I look back then. I think the channel with the most subs was like 3 million subs back then. Like
It's
oh 07.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Now it's
when things that were actually being watched were pushed as recommended.
yep, yep,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
that was
but
good shit, man.
yeah, man. No.
Well, hey, I appreciate it, man. I'll let you do your thing. I'll let you do your
Yeah,
outro.
definitely, man. We'll
Yeah,
talk soon, man. I appreciate you coming on, and yeah, definitely. Every
yeah,
night
absolutely,
on
man.
my stream. Yeah.
Thanks,
All right.
Max.
All right,
Bye, guys.
man. Take care. Have a good one. Thanks everybody in the chat for being here tonight. You guys take care and have a good one. We'll talk tonight.